Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, there we go. Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Aklon here, and welcome back to what can only be described as a very early stream. I mean, usually, or at least for the last few weeks, we've done some weird stream times, but this is early even for me, like very early. This is almost back to my original stream time, which usually happened at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Because you're weird, Saving Raven. How you doing? It's not so much weirdness as it is, well, South Africa is currently suffering through what can only be described as probably the worst bout of load shedding we've ever had. You know, for the last 2 weeks, we've had load shedding every single day. Like every night, we've had load shedding. And usually it works out to where I miss the load shedding bullshit. So, you know, load shedding will start at 5, and according to the schedule, I'm only going to be load shed at, say, 10 in the morning, which means there's no load shedding when I'm supposed to be load shed. That is not true. By the way, if you're watching this over on YouTube, remember to hit the like button. Also hit the link in the description down below, because it does help. But if we look now, so I'm going to be off. If we stay on stage 1, which technically we should, I'm going to be off tonight at 6 o'clock, which is in, like, 3.5 hours. And then tomorrow, so if tomorrow nothing changes, there'll be no load shedding. Even if we go to stage 4, I won't have load shedding tomorrow during stream. So, fucking fingers crossed, let's hope. Where am I supposed to be watching? What do you mean, where are you supposed to be watching? Seven Raven. Are we not live on Twitch? Just said, no. If you're watching over on YouTube, after, like, this stream's VOD is uploaded to YouTube. Lunari, how you doing? No. Q&A, this is just regular stream. The Q&A is probably going to be tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Like, we'll decide on a day. So we'll choose a day that works in the week. Maybe Thursday. Let's see what the schedule is like. So if we stay on stage 2, we will have no load shedding during stream time tomorrow. We'll have no load shedding during stream time on Wednesday. If we stay on stage 2. If we do move to a higher stage, which they've already warned, most likely going to move up to a higher stage, right? Too bored, how you doing, brother? If we do move to even stage 3, which means I move to stage 2, Max, how you doing, brother? We'll be off at 4 to 6:30, so we'll start Wednesday stream, then say at 7 p.m., right? So about 3 hours after we normally start, but not the end of the world either, so all good. That's if we move up a stage. If we stay on stage 2, I'm on stage 1, because Cape Town is always a stage lower. No issues there. Thursday, if we stay on stage 2, Thursday is fine too, no load shedding. If we move to any of the higher stages, I'll again be off from 4 to 6:30. Friday, shouldn't have load shedding, fucking hopefully. Actually, never mind. I won't have load shedding on Friday. Unless, of course, we move to some ridiculous fucking stage. Gazir, how you doing, brother? So yeah, we should be fine for the rest of the week. It is genuinely just today is a weird fucking day where the power goes out in about 3.5 hours, and then it comes back online about 2.5 hours later. Although, never trust never trust the fuck ups, because that's usually what that is. They love changing the rules. So, yeah, it sucks. Believe me, it fucking blows. If all goes well, we'll be live again tonight. King Julian, how you doing, brother? If all goes well, we'll be live again tonight once my power comes back online. But all of that depends on when they switch the power back on, because it's supposed to only be 2.5 hours. Last few times it's taken like an hour extra for them to switch the power back on. So, dude, I am sick and tired of this bullshit, by the way. I'm so sick and tired of this shit. Elo TV, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Nate the Ninja, how you doing, you fucking bastard? Not the greatest echo. I just tested positive for COVID today. Oh shit. Is this the first time you have COVID, King Julian? I've had it 3 times, motherfucker. I'm a lurker. Well, I'm very happy to have you here. And also, thank you so much for the chat. It's very much appreciated. Elo, in that case, feel free to keep lurking. I love the lurkers. I mean, any viewer helps, right? I'm a lurker too, to be honest. I watch a lot of Twitch. I don't chat much. Because I'm watching, right? I always have it up on the second monitor. I'm doing something on this one. I'm not really paying attention. Like, I'm not going to chat all that much. I very rarely will say hello. I mean, that's it. That's usually it. I just go, hey, sup? Just to make everyone know, like, let everyone know, oh, he's here too. And then I go back to lurking. So I appreciate the lurkers. I'm one of you, you know. I forgot I was subbed till I saw the charge. Well, hey, Echo. Nixie, how you doing? Nixie, thank you so much for the 5 community subs. Thank you with some hearts in chat. 5 community subs. Very much appreciated. We are saving up to buy a house. So all of the money that you guys give now, it's going straight towards buying a house. That's the plan. Haven't been here in a while. Last time I was here, my home country, Australia, had a different prime minister. Oh, shit. Matchup, how you doing, brother? What do you think about South Africa from tourism point? Is it worth going there? As a tourist, yes, absolutely. South Africa is one of the most beautiful countries you can ever visit in your life. It's cheap as shit to go or to come here. The people are really amazing. I'd say, yeah. I mean, it's got a lot of history. It's got a lot of culture. There's a lot of things to discover. I would say absolutely. Living, not so much. It's a fucking useless place to live in, but it's a beautiful place to visit. Too bored? No, I won't. No. So, let's clear the fucking air. Let's get this out of the way. Will I ever work for Blizzard Entertainment as the narrative director, as a story writer, as anything? The answer is unequivocally no. I did not stop making YouTube videos to get a job within the gaming industry. That's not why I started a YouTube channel. I'm not a streamer because I'm hoping to get some bigger role somewhere down the line. I know a lot of streamers use Twitch and YouTube as sort of a springboard into something greater. And that's fine if that is what you want to do. It's a good place to make your name. That's not why I do it. I love critiquing things, and more specifically, I love complaining about things, right? Max, thank you for 245 bits. Really appreciate that. Thank you. I love complaining about things. The problem is, if I worked for Blizzard Entertainment, I would not be able to complain about the things that's happening. I would have to pretend like I'm happy with everything that we're putting out, even if I am not. So that's sort of the first reason why I don't want to work for Blizzard Entertainment. I like the job that I have now, where I critique what Blizzard puts out there. I get to play what Blizzard puts out there, but I don't physically have to take responsibility for it. The other reason is I don't think I'm qualified to do it. I am perfectly qualified to critique something that I see isn't working. But to actually physically create it, I think takes a hell of a lot more skill and talent and also knowledge that I don't necessarily possess, right? I don't think I do. I think I would fuck it up. So yeah, I don't think I have the skill to work on a game as established as World of Warcraft. I think I would have the skill to make really good video games in the future, but as with most things, you want to start small. So I would most likely start on a very small, my own sort of indie game, and then allow it to grow from there. Because if you start taking over a company, like a narrative team like Blizzard, you have 20, 30, 40 people working under you. You have to make sure that every single one of those people are doing their jobs in the right way. And all of that is just, I mean, fucking nightmare, right? If you don't know what you're doing. So personally, I don't think I'm cut out for that, at least not right now. And then perhaps even more important than that, and this is actually, I can't stress just how important this is to me. The Blizzard that we all know and love. Nixty, thanks for the deal. I really appreciate that. 10 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The Blizzard that we all know and love. The Blizzard that I once, when I was much younger, dreamt about working for. That Blizzard is dead. The Blizzard haven't existed for a really long time. I think that fundamentally I would have massive disagreements with Ian and Blizzard over how the story goes. The first time they tell me, oh, by the way, we have this book, you have to figure out what goes in the book and what goes in the game. I go, oh, that's easy. Nothing goes in the book, everything goes in the game. Like, no, but we really want to release a book. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. We're really not putting anything in the book. If it can go in the book, it can go in the fucking game. And that will be the hill that I die on. So I will be fired probably within a month of working there, because I will 100% just be like, sorry, I'm not going to be part of you fucking over the gamers. I'm sorry, that's just not... I used to be one of them. I know how it feels when the fucking story is removed and put into a goddamn book. Nixty, thank you so much for the community sub. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Hearts in chat. Come on, people. Whenever people give money away, we got to get some hearts, right? Balti, how you doing? So, yeah, I also feel like the culture at Blizzard is no longer really a culture inducive to video gamers. It is a business now, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is not some sort of criticism of Blizzard. It's just what it is, right? When you have companies that's this large and, multi-million dollar companies, in some cases billion-dollar companies, you don't keep that original sense of what it is to be a gamer, you know? So a good example for any of you, in the community, we have someone that is a developer, a high-level developer for a AAA company. Now, I'm not allowed to say which company because they really don't want people to know who they are, but you can take my word for it. This person works for one of those AIDS-inducing companies that we all love to hate. There's about 3 that you can choose from, so pick one and just go with that, because I'm pretty sure it's the same no matter which company you work for. They're currently working on a brand new game that's supposed to come out of this company, right? It hasn't been announced yet, but they're one of the developers, senior developers actually, on this project. And they confirmed to me, straight up, about 80% of all the developers that work on this game has never played the game. They're physically working on the game. They are making this video game. They've never played it. They have no interest in playing it. None. When asked, why do you not try it? They're like, why should I? I don't like games like this. These are people working on games that they don't like playing. What? Like, how are you even... Like, what? Like, either you play the game that you actually fucking make, or your game fails. It's as simple as that, right? And when you look at a lot of the games that comes out of the gaming industry, look at EA, look at Ubisoft, look at Blizzard, and you sort of look at those games. Holiday Emily, how you doing? You look at those games and you ask yourself, like, how many of you have ever played... Machendo, how you doing, brother? What are you saying? Who are we talking about? Can't tell you who I'm talking about. I can tell you that the person I'm talking about works for a AAA company as a senior developer on a, as of yet, unannounced AAA video game. How many of you have ever loaded up a Ubisoft or an EA game and encountered things that you sort of think to yourself, why would they put this in the game? Like, who would think that this was a good idea for this game? It happens almost every single fucking time whenever I play a Ubisoft game very specifically. some of the EA games, like most specifically, I would talk about most of the modern releases of BioWare. For Ubisoft, it's things like Far Cry, things like Assassin's Creed. When I look at the map system, for example, on Ubisoft games, so the open world map that Ubisoft has, can you name a game with a worse open world setting? The Far Cry games, their open world sort of idea is so fucking brain dead. It's like lowest amount of effort to keep the player busy, to make the player feel like the map is really big and there's a lot of stuff to do. But then after you've done about 5 things in the game, you very quickly realize, oh wait, this is the same thing that I'm doing, just in different areas of the fucking map. Like, I'm not really changing things in the map, right? I'm not really playing a story here. I'm basically just doing the same. So I played Far Cry 6, and there's these sort of checkpoints that you have to clear as you're playing Far Cry 6. Every single one of the checkpoints that you have to clear is the exact same activity. Like, there's no difference. The enemies sometimes look a little bit different that you have to kill, but it's the same thing. Kill all the enemies and bam, you have the checkpoint. And congratulations, you now have the checkpoint. And then you have to clear out some of the camps with missile silos. The first one was really fun because you kind of get it later in the game where you have to go destroy the missiles because you can't fly in the area while the missiles are up. The first one is really fun. The second one, also pretty cool. And then you get to the third one, like, wait a second, but this is like... Didn't I just fucking do this? Like, I'm pretty sure I just did this. Like, 10 minutes ago. Why am I doing this again? You know, and very quickly you start to realize this is a lot of rinse and repeat, reused assets, reuse system, just put it in, let it go. Now, I'm not saying that that's not necessarily like an okay thing to do, because one of the things that maps like that really do help with is sort of stress relief. It's what I call stress relief gaming. It's that moment where you spend about 5 hours in the game doing mind-numbing bullshit, but you actually don't mind, you know? And that's true for Far Cry 6 too. I don't actually mind. It's sort of fun to just do the same thing over and over again, you know, see how many of the things on the map you can actually get done. But is it top tier level game design? That's the question, chat. I used to stress about getting mounts and achievements in WoW, but I got 6 mounts last week just messing around. Nice, Nixie. Dragon Age Inquisition, large areas with nothing to do. Nixie, again, very true. This is why I hate open world games. It's the first time me getting an echo, and luckily, because I had my 2 vaccines, I don't feel really bad. But then again, this is day 1 and the first time ever getting COVID. Dude, I've not been vaccinated and I've had COVID 3 times and it's not that bad. It's like 2 days of feeling really shit and then you're fine. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. All Ubisoft games are the same. True. Very fucking true. The issue is that it's not that it's bad, because mindless grinding can be fun. We all play MMOs. We all love mindless grinding. Let's not lie. There is a sort of what's the word? There's a... Is cathartic the right word? It's almost cathartic to just go around and just do mindless, brain-dead crap, right? That it requires no thinking whatsoever. You just do it, right? That's fun. But is it worthy of a AAA experience? Should there not also be a lot more high-level, like high-functioning content within the game? And that's my issue with AAA games. Now, the reason I believe maps like Ubisoft's map exist is exactly what my friend told me. They don't play the games. These developers do not play their own games, so they don't know what it feels like to do the same thing 500 times in a row. They don't get... And what's specifically horrible is when you start getting stuff in the main storyline that is basically just a repeat of something that happened in the open world Braindead content. So you're sent in the main storyline to take down a missile silo. And you go, this is just literally the open world activity with voice lines. It's like, what the fuck? You couldn't even be asked to create an entirely new main storyline? You just rinse and repeat even the activities of the open world? So it is annoying to me, and that's one of the main reasons I would likely never work for a AAA company, Blizzard included. I don't think... I'll be honest with you, I don't think the vast majority of Blizzard employees play World of Warcraft. I don't think they do. I don't think they care. I just think they're sort of, who gives a fuck? So yeah, no point. Super Cider, if it's not in the title, it's not happening today. Like, you can always look at the titles. The titles will be Final Fantasy later. My power is going out in 3 hours. 3 hours and 15 minutes. So, I know I could, right? I could fire up Final Fantasy 14 and just play it until my power goes out. My issue is, if I get into a really fun bit in Final Fantasy 14, like a really cool storyline that I want to see, and now I'm forced to shut down because my power is going out, that's a fucking horrible feeling. Like, fucking bonkers feeling. Now I'm gonna sit here in darkness for 2.5 hours, thinking to myself, fuck, I want to see how all this ends, but I can't because I don't have electricity. Chevalier, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the follow, really appreciate that. They're saying 2 LOL cinematics and content suggestions in case you want to react to those today. We could. Worrying about power while gaming is bad vibes. Yeah, I mean, I stream now because I really want to hang out with you guys. I feel like it's been ages for some reason. It just feels horrible. Like, the power keeps me away from streaming, and streaming is sort of the only fun thing I do during the day. The rest of my days are filled with basically fuck all. I just write scripts and record shit. So being able to stream is like the fun part of my life. And then load shedding happens, and it's like, oh, by the way, you know that thing that you really enjoy? Yeah, fuck you. You'll sit here in darkness and you'll be happy with it. Dude, I'm so bored. I've started rewatching The Walking Dead. Like, I'm legit. I downloaded Walking Dead season 1 on Netflix just to sit there and fucking watch it again. Because what else am I supposed to do? Oh yeah, thunderstorms are also shit. By the way, Akko, I created a Jedi in Swatter. He is level 24, high enough to kill you. Hey, you can try. Buy a good book. Be Stefan, the problem is that right now, so South Africa is sort of going through its worst load shedding ever, in my opinion at least. Because it's been like for the last 2 weeks, we've had non-stop load shedding every night. So if the power went out during the day, I have books. I can literally just read a book. But the power doesn't go out during the day. The load shedding starts at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it continues till about 11 o'clock at night. So by the time the power goes out, there's no light to actually read the book. And I could probably, I don't know, I've tried reading by like lamps or shit like that. I just get a headache. And reading on my phone specifically gives me a headache. So not really something I would do. No candles. You'd read by candle? Like, reading by candlelight is insta fucking headache for me. Mudan, you want to see what the kind of schedule looks like? Give you an idea. This is where you realize that life's fucked. Okay, so look at these schedules. Alright, so stage 1, as you can see, is going to start tonight. Right, there you go, stage 1. You have stage 2 all the way through to stage 8. Now, they have warned that stage 8 is probably coming. So we've been warned that stage 8 is coming. So you can see there, tonight we're going to be off from 6 to 8:30. Then stage 2, we're going to be off if we go to stage 2. Luckily, hopefully we won't. But if we do go to stage 2, we're going to be off from 2 to 4:30, and then from 6 to 8:30. Although I won't be off at 4:30 because, well, it's already passed. The worst would be stage 8. Like, just take a look at stage 8. If we did go to stage 8, yeah, we would be off from 12 in the evening until 4:30 in the morning. Then again from 8 in the morning to 12:30 in the afternoon. And then again from 4 to 8:30 in the evening. That's how much we would be off at stage 8. And they did warn, but you can see here, so that's Tuesday schedule, Wednesday schedule, Thursday schedule, and then Friday schedule. And there's no more until tomorrow. Turning bad in the fridge because the power goes off? Well, nothing happens. You can't sue the government for your food going rotten. You can't sue Eskom for your food going rotten or anything like that. You just have to sort of go, yeah, all right, that's fine, I guess. So, okay, the purpose of the shading, did I should just make a video and just direct everyone to the video whenever they ask. My country does not produce enough electricity for the whole country. So the peak demand of the whole country is higher than the actual electricity that my country can provide. This is due to a combination, well, actually not even a combination. Well, yeah, kind of a combination of stupidity, bad planning, and corruption. You can really take your pick because those do flow into everything else. Corruption being the main thing. The government, instead of using money to maintain the power plants and actually upgrade the power plants where necessary, that money was sort of funneled into private companies that banked mega bucks. So the way my government works, by the way, is my government have no issue with what I like to term state-owned enterprises or unofficial state-owned enterprises. Zayt, how you doing, bro? Hi, dude. Love catching your clips. Sadly, the streams start too late for NZ. Oh, I do apologize. Yeah, stream time is a fucking horrible mess. But I have some plans that hopefully will allow for everyone to catch a bit more of the streams. But, okay, so we have, obviously, state-owned enterprises. These are companies that's owned by the government. And then we have what I like to call unofficial state-owned companies. This is where one of the ministers has a wife, for example, and his wife opens a company. And then the company of the minister's wife does business with the government. Okay? This is sort of like an unofficial state-owned enterprise. Now, in those companies, where those companies are concerned, they usually overcharge the government. For example, our power utility was up until very recently paying one such company for a toilet roll, a single toilet roll, $2. That was the price that was agreed upon. According to the state-owned entity, paying $2 for a toilet roll is a deal and a half, really. Like, you can't ask for a better deal. And it was also one of these sort of interesting, like, companies, right, where family members own the company of the minister who decides who gets the tender for the business. So the very minister that decides which company should be doing this business or this job on behalf of the government, it's his family members that own the company. So you can imagine, who do you think gets that? It's a fair system, right? The minister takes everything into account, looks at every single company that sent in a quote, and then chooses the best quote. Of course not. He looks at every single quote that was sent in, throws it all in the trash, and then picks whichever one is his family's. So this is sort of where Eskom's problem started. Slowly over time, Eskom obviously eroded to the point where 14 years ago, load shedding started in our country. And at the time, they promised us that it's only going to be for 2 years. They started massive fucking deals around nuclear and coal power plants and all the rest of it, because it's only going to be 2 years. In 2 years' time, load shedding will be done. 14 years later, 2 power stations have been built, coal-fired power stations. Neither one of the two actually work in South Africa. Like, they are producing electricity, but they keep breaking down because they weren't actually built for South African, so like the environment of South Africa, the coal that we use, the climate that we have. These power plants can't actually work in South Africa. So that was helpful, obviously, building 2 brand new power plants that's broken more than they work. There's also some sabotage going on. So right now, South Africa is suffering from about 5 acts of sabotage. These are people who work for Eskom. The new CEO for Eskom is a guy called Andre de Ruyter. And he's sort of, he's trying to fix, he's really trying to fix Eskom, trying to get Eskom back on track, so to speak. And there's a lot of people that work for Eskom that is not happy about this. So just about like a month ago, it came out that there was a massive theft. About, I think 4 or 5 months ago, there was this massive theft reported at Eskom of diesel in the amount of, I think, 100 billion rand or some shit like that. Thank you for the prime sub, did really appreciate that. Welcome to the most degenerate chat on Twitch. Thank you. Like 100 billion rand worth of diesel that was stolen. It then came out that the people behind the theft are high-level employees for Eskom and the police. The fucking police are in on milking the state-owned enterprises and stealing shit from them. Then it came out that all the cable thefts that we're dealing with, because like there's cable thefts every single time the power goes out, it's the police there as well. Like members of the police are part of a syndicate that steals the copper cables and then resells it. So this country is just it's a treadmill of bad fucking decisions and bad shit that happens. But so load shedding is the way to preserve the infrastructure so that it doesn't cause a complete blackout. Long story short, that's load shedding. And that's what we're dealing with. It breaks your spirit, especially when you wake up and you're like, fuck, I'm being load shed today. It just makes you not want to care about anything, you know? We are on coal, yes. So South Africa has 1 nuclear power plant, and then we have like a shit ton of coal-fired plants. And I think recently there's been like a new wind farm erected. But that, I don't know if it's selling electricity yet. Tenders, they wanted me to appoint a contractor who didn't even submit a tender because they know him. Voicey TV, so my government has a thing called cadre employment, which is just another word for employ all of your friends. Do a lot of people use generators? Not actually so many, no. Nixie, yeah. I mean, I would say Asmongold, his streams can pop the fuck off quick. It's like his tweets. Like Asmongold will tweet something 0 seconds ago, and there's like already 100 likes on the tweet. It's like, Jesus, I'm sure, are there just people sitting there waiting for Asmongold to tweet something? But Trickstar, so the issue with generators, I mean, I have a generator. So the deal that we made with the sort of complex that we live in, because I live in a security complex, and the deal we made with them is we won't use the generator normally. So under normal load shedding circumstances, we won't use the generator. Because people live really close to each other, and if you have a generator on, you're sort of disrupting everyone else's life. Right? Because everyone else now has to sit there and listen to your fucking generator go brrr the whole time. So we did say the only time we'll use the generator is when cables get stolen, because that can take 3 or 4 days to be resolved, which means you're without electricity for 3 or 4 days, or when there's like a meltdown at the power station or some shit, then we're allowed to use the generator. So people tend to not use the generator unless it's absolutely pivotal. Their own generator? D-Rocker, I wish I could. But, I mean, I get it. A lot of people hate the sound of a generator, right? They're loud. They're fucking loud. So a lot of people don't really care, and most people don't wear headphones the whole time. Like, I couldn't give two fucks. The generator could be right next to me. I have my headphones on. I'm not hearing shit, right? Except for whatever I'm playing on my PC. But I get that a lot of people don't have that, and so, you know, obviously for them, the generator is just a nuisance. Is the house hunting going? Oh, D-Rocker, house hunting is going well. The houses that we saw on Sunday, or was it Sunday? Saturday. Saturday, not Sunday. The houses that we saw on Saturday were not taking. I don't like the area that the houses are in. Plus, none of the houses spoke to me. I was looking, like, walking through the houses. I was just like, I don't feel it. You know, I don't feel this area. I don't feel this house. Just doesn't feel right. So not going to take any of those two. Had a call today from one of the estate agents. And she was like, oh, we have this beautiful home for you. It's 2.1 million. It's gorgeous. It's a 4-bedroom, and it is gorgeous. She showed me pictures of the house. And she's like, just quickly want to check with you. Is the fiber thing a deal breaker? Because we don't have fiber yet, but we will have fiber in about a year. I'm like, yeah. When I wrote you the email to tell you what I'm looking for, I put fiber needs to be there for a reason. I didn't sort of go, it's a suggestion. Like, if it had fiber, that would be a plus. I said fiber is important, which means it's a deal breaker. My entire job is on the internet. If I don't have fiber, I'm not working, which means I'm buying the house, moving out 2 months later because the bank now wants it back because I can't fucking pay it. So, yeah, it is a deal breaker. He's like, oh, then I don't have a house for you. I'm like, all right, thanks for waking me up. I really appreciate this call at 8 o'clock in the fucking morning. It's amazing. Thank you. Dude, I was so ready to yell at her because in the email, I also told her I work nights. So could you please phone me after 12 in the afternoon? Because that's when I'll be awake and I'll be, like, able to talk to you. And then she phones me at 8 a.m., dude. It's like, off to a gaming item, bro. Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Hey, I first time catching you live. Just wanted to let you know that I like a lot of your YouTube content. Hope you're still having fun playing FF14. I'll get back to my shadowy corner now. Bro, you welcome to the light. Even though on this stream, is there such a thing as a light side? I don't know. But thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that you said, I like, what did you say there? I like a lot of your YouTube content. So what other content do you disagree with? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I don't care. It's fine. I really appreciate that, dude. The light is evil and wow, changed my mind. Can't. You can work nights on me. Ooh. Kinky. I love visiting Singapore. Home ownership is also really high, which is a good sign. Nice and clean everywhere. Voicey TV, people in Singapore don't own homes. You can't actually own a home in Singapore. You can have a lease on it for 99 years, but you can't own it. Nixie, if you disagree with my YouTube content, that's your fucking problem. That is 100% a you problem. Look at what I fucking did this morning. They knocked off a massive piece of skin, bro. That is unfortunate. I didn't even mean to punch anything. I was getting out of the shower and leaving the shower to walk into my room because my bathroom is en suite. Like, it's right next to the I don't know. En suite is how you say that, right? Like, when the bathroom and the room is basically one thing. But there's like the bathroom is inside the closet, so to speak. So you go through the closet doors in order to get into the bathroom, and then you shower, and then and as I'm walking out, the doors have these metal sort of hinges that it's on. And I don't know why, for some fucking stupid reason, I punch my fist, just walking, I punch my fist into one of these fucking metal hinges. And as soon as I did it, I was just like, fuck me, why? Because it was just blood immediately, like blood dripping down my finger. I'm like, okay, that's great. Thank you. It's 99-year lease, yes, because the land is the government's, because Singapore is a very small country. Well, actually, because Singapore is the world's most successful dictatorship, which is actually mind-blowing. Most people don't even know this, but Singapore is technically a dictatorship. Even though they have elections, the way their elections work is fucking bonkers, bro. It's like next level bonkers. This my foot is perfect now. It's all healed up. Thank you for asking. Gilgamesh, massive. I mean, I wouldn't say it's massive. It's just a small little nick, really. How is it a dictatorship? I'm baffled. Okay, so in the entirety of Singapore's existence, it's only ever had one government that's ruled it. Since it officially became a country, it's only had one government that rules it. While technically Singapore does have elections, and their elections are completely free, their elections are not exactly fair. So the national government, which I can't remember what they're called. I can't remember what the government's called. They have sort of all the government members wear these white suits the whole time in Singapore. The Prime Minister of Singapore can decide whenever the elections happen, and he does not actually have to give advance notice. So in the last 20 years, I believe, like 2 elections ago or something, they gave 1 day notice before the national election started. 1 day. So opposition parties had less than a day to convince the population to vote for them, right? Because the national government can absolutely just go, oh, by the way, we're having national elections tomorrow, and no one can sort of make a peep. It's just, oh, okay, never mind, we'll do it. To be clear, though, most people in Singapore love the government. They have no problem with the government because the government really fucking works. And the reason their government works is they view Singapore as a company. They believe that a government should run a country as a company. And companies work best when workers are happy. So the government does a lot of work to keep the people that live there very happy, because happy workers work harder. But it is 100% a dictatorship. Ludin, yeah, you can't. So you can't protest in Singapore. Like, they have very harsh penalties for protesting, except for one place in Singapore where you're allowed to protest, which is called Speaker's Corner. It's like a park, and anyone can protest there, but you can't protest anywhere else. You can only go to this place, and that's where you can fucking protest. Well, if it works, Anakin Skywalker, don't need to protest if you're contained. Yeah, I mean, the issue that I see for Singapore is, because Singapore, by the way, is one of those countries where I would love to go live. I would love to experience that country. It's a beautiful place. One of the things that blow me away about Singapore is that it has 0 natural resources and is still a giant on the world stage, right? It is a giant country. It manages to be friends with everyone. It really does not piss anyone off. So there's a lot of things that I would love to see in Singapore. I've heard the people are amazing there. The issue for Singapore is it will only be successful so long as it has a government that is benevolent. Because the powers that the government has means that if you get one corrupt leader, you're fucked. Unhappy with your country when you are treated like you don't belong in your country? Dude, Singapore have found so many great ways to sort of fix a lot of the problems that the rest of the world has. And yeah, they do have some hot chicks, Eludrin. If you want, I can show you one. They have some really hot girls. But so they, for example, in order to fix racism in the country, the housing system, so every single housing block has quotas, ratios. So, for example, only so many people of Chinese descent may live in this building, and then so many people of Indian descent and so many people of XYZ descent. So, based on the markup of the country, all people live together in the same building, go to the same schools, shop at the same centers, and their reasoning for this is social cohesion. When people go to the same schools, live in the same buildings, they're more likely to get along. The other thing they do is they sort of merge the rich and the poor. Since whether you're rich or poor, everyone lives in government housing, the rich and the poor live in the same buildings. So there's none of that class divide. Which is an interesting way of tackling social issues, right? Oh, how you doing, brother? Tell you guys from living in Singapore that the only drawback is that life goes on extremely fast. I mean, that's true for a lot of cities, right? Humid as balls. And so they also don't have anything overthrown, like terrorism issues, because they are in with people they feel safe with. True. But Eludrin, you wanted to know about Singaporean goals. I only know one goal from Singapore. Trying to remember what's her fucking name. She's she's into crypto and shit like that. I'm trying to remember what her fucking name is. It's how I discovered her was crypto. Genuinely can't remember her fucking name. Was that her name? Irene something? Yeah. All right, I found her. So if you're interested in Singapore goals, here you go. Death Grip, how you doing, brother? Thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate that. But there you go. That's the kind of goals I guess you'll date in Singapore. Although I don't think all of them would be that hot. I think like maybe 10% will be this hot, and then there will also be ugly ones. So, Seven Raven, I remember no names. Ever. Like, you can tell me your name right now. Tomorrow I forgot it. I completely forgot. Just saying, oh, never mind. It is what it is, right? But what about when they get older? I don't know. They'll be old like most people. I don't know. What do you mean? Not that hot? And most of in Singapore, not quite, Machendo. You're thinking Thailand, which, sure. Her name is Irene, I think. Irene Zhao or some shit like that. Oh, yeah, there. That's her name. Irene Zhao, I think. Look, I don't know about this because a lot of people say it. Asians are ageless or whatever. And I'm sort of like, look, you have people of every single race that ages good or that ages really fucking bad. I don't think it matters which race it is, because I can tell you now, I've seen Asian girls that is in their 40s and look miserable as fuck. Then I've seen like white women or black women that's in their 40s and look stunning, right? So I think it's more a case of whatever the fuck. Some people age really well, other people age like milk. Nothing you can do about it. That's just life. 1,000 years. Look at Tom Cruise. Dude, I'm pretty sure if you ever wanted to come up with like some evidence of vampires existing, Tom Cruise would be your best bet. Dude, that guy has not aged. Like, not a day. Look at him in the beginning of his career and look at him now. It's the same person. Like 110% the same person. Millie Bobby Brown looks 40. Same way some black people say once you go black. I mean, it depends, right? If someone has an affinity for black girls, yeah, they're gonna date black girls. It all depends on what you like. Hollywood actors don't count. They drink the blood of children. Oh, shit. Wait, what?
All right, your next witness.
Oh shit, I didn't know we were starting yet. Wait, almost got it. Perfect. Perfect spot.
Okay, could you please state your full name?
Yeah.
What is this?
Jason Momoa.
Mr. Momoa, do you know Amber?
Okay.
What the fuck is... What am I watching? Like, why am I watching this, more importantly?
I do. Hi, Amber.
Don't talk to her. So how do you know Amber?
We work together on Aquaman.
So you work together as actors, right?
No. As janitors. Ah!
Mr. Momoa, you have to take this serious.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you say you
Not
have
janitor.
around Amber on the set?
Sure, I guess.
So there was not even one incident.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Why? What
I
happened?
wouldn't say that.
Amber and I were
No, it's not
in the
real.
scene. It was just the two of us. And she pointed at the water and said, "Look at that beautiful brown fish."
Yeah.
So what seems to be the
Oh
issue?
my god,
I'm not
dude,
following.
what the
Any
fuck?
wildlife in the water would be computerized, so that was brown fish.
I don't understand. So what was it?
Well, it was, shall I say, Amber's turn.
Okay.
Mr.
Holy
Momoa,
shit.
All right.
how do you even know what that was? Did you even take a picture of Amber's turd?
Using the name.
So do you have any evidence?
Well, I made a replica.
Oh, rep. Wait, what?
Here it is.
What is this? How did
Does that look like a
Ugh.
fish?
Dude, what the fuck is that?
What fucking interview even is this?
Ah! Oh, man.
Oh my god.
I love that bit where the guy just walks out. He's just like, fuck it. Can't be here. This is funny as shit.
Okay.
Thanks for the clip, dude. Really appreciate that. That was a good clip. That was funny. Some people have too much time on their hands, though. Like, who went ahead and actually fucking decided, look, that's what I need to do with my day? I need to make a voiceover and capture all of it to make it seem real. The videos of people recreating Amber's testimony are the funniest things ever. Dude, she has to lose this fucking trial, though. There's no way a jury is that fucking stupid to just just go, nope. The time ever was the creator of Snatch Wars. Creators gotta create. Yeah, but I mean, you could create something that helps humanity, right? Instead, you end up creating, I don't know, whatever the fuck that was. It's good, but still. Stepped on a bee, killed me? I don't know. The Amber, like, there's no trial right now. Are they taking a break, or have all the good parts just, like, finished? Might be evident. The trial is, did JD abuse Amber? And that might be evident. So it all depends. Because if the evidence of the trial, for example, is that Johnny Depp was the one that was being sort of abused within that relationship, and the abuse that he in turn inflicted was more a case of self-defense than anything else, that would not necessarily go count against him. So if they can prove that Amber Heard is actually far more abusive, and that thanks to her toxicity within the relationship, this led to Johnny Depp having to resort to the same level of toxicity, that would not necessarily count as abuse, so to speak. You're wise. I slept, and I remember we were on the edge of the couch. I was on the edge of the couch and cries. I just remember sitting on this carpet wondering how I got How I got on the carpet and wondering how it got so dirty. Dude, I think, if for nothing else, any guy that has ever been into Amber Heard should now be like, never mind. Ludren, I think I care only because I'm sick and tired of girls like Amber Heard getting away with false accusations, this sort of holier-than-thou bullshit where they can do no wrong and that everyone owes them something. I'm sick and tired of it because for some reason, as a world, we have decided to give girls a free fucking pass. We've decided that, look, if you're a piece of shit, you shouldn't have to be held accountable for your actions. And it makes me fucking angry. Because it's kind of like, no one has a problem holding guys to account, nor should you. If a guy hits a girl or a guy is a fucking bastard, you should hold him accountable. But why are those same rules not applied when it comes to girls? Why are they not held accountable? D-Rocker pretty much, right? Into her, to be honest, but all I see now is the turd she left on the bed. Any guy that's been into Amber Heard should make an appointment at the clinic. I'm convinced that the Amber Heard today isn't the same one from 10 years ago or whatever. What makes you think it isn't the same one, though? Slap me across the face. Pauses for dramatic effect. Hard. And I turned around and I said, you hit me, Johnny. You just hit me. Man, bad woman, good. I don't think, by the way, that this is the majority of women. Again, because I've heard a couple of guys do this where they're sort of like, women is out of control these days. And it's kind of like, no, it's not women that's out of control. It's not men that's out of control. It's some women and it's some men that is out of control. And the weird thing is that everyone else suffers as a fucking result of a minority of people doing crazy crap that they shouldn't be doing. Happy Victoria Day from Canada. Remember, it's rules for thee, but not for me. Dep won in the public eye already. Lastly, both are messed up, but she just has way more issues. At the end of the day, I wonder what a toxic relationship like that does to two people, right? Because it probably didn't start off this way between the two of them. They were probably toxic in many other ways, and then slowly over time, the toxicity built to what we see in court now. Older video of giving a testimony. Her head is a different shape, and her head is a different shape and size than her head is now. Just operations then. It's weird that you can be any gender and be crazy and toxic. Imagine that. She's being investigated by the UK for lying under oath. Wait, are you serious right now? Because that's jail time, no? Like, perjury carries jail time. Lust passion turned into jealousy and hate. I mean, lust and passion is like a very horrible mix. For the most part. She's an enabler and he had a drug problem, etc. As for the investigation, yes, she's being investigated. Maybe they started pushing keys and after the toxicity had reached the point of no return. It can be money or jail or money plus jail. That's prison, not jail time. What do you mean, prison? Like, isn't jail and prison the same fucking thing? I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Rich people don't go to jail. I think that most of the people outside of the US use jail and prison in the same context. The trial is going on now. Is it react time? What the fuck do you want to react to? There can't be any more cool stuff to react to. I mean, they're only, like... Oh my god, it's live right now. Jesus, dude. Every single website. Just look at this. There isn't a website in the world that isn't live streaming this fucking case right now. Just look at it. Everyone and their mother is getting in on this action. And there's different facilities used. That's live. Digimark, how you doing, brother? How's the power surge is going? Not going great. At this site, I think that jail is when you get arrested before the trial. Prison is when you get a sentence. Can someone tell me if I'm wrong? I thought jail and prison is just sort of different words for the same place. Can bring an unlimited fine and potentially up to 7 years in prison in the UK. Oof. Jail is mostly like a holding area in a police station or courthouse, but a prison where a collection of criminals are gathered together. Compilation of funny reenactments of a testimony. Tigress, how you doing? I mean, Nixie, you're welcome to. I just feel like... Wait, what? Huge when Amber Heard's lawyer... What?
Amber Heard took the stand once again to continue facing the intense cross-examination about her relation.
I don't know if this is copyrighted, though. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to watch this. Because if it's copyrighted, they're gonna fuck us. Plus, the YouTube one isn't. It's really fucking weird that a trial becomes reality TV, like it was Big Brother or something. Yeah, but people love seeing this just because... Well, we all want to see Amber Heard pay for her bullshit, which is ultimately why this is happening, right?
Comminuted fracture like this, what are some things that have typically caused it?
So crush mechanisms could be slammed in a drawer.
I mean, the trial in public was JD's idea. He wants the truth to be out there.
Sliding glass door.
But this all turns out to be a new kind of movie Hollywood planned. I mean, it's working, right? What's interesting to me is that there's people super chatting on this live stream, and no one's doing anything.
Describe what happened to the alleged bottle when it hit the bar.
I believe he said it exploded, shattered.
If
I don't know what the fuck that is. Let's see what this is. So this is reenactments. So this is people reenacting Amber Heard's... What can be seen as acting, but I mean, it's really horrible as acting, but okay.
Remember, I just have that memory. I remember taking a bunch of sleeping pills. Not a bunch, like 2, which is a lot for me.
Well, okay. Actually, Amber, that's lol. Okay.
I lose my balance. At this point, we're sitting next to each other on the edge of the couch, or I was on the edge of the couch.
Think of
I
life.
was just sitting there on this carpet, looking at the dirty carpet, wondering how I wound up on this carpet and why I never noticed that the carpet was so filthy before, and I just didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to react.
Okay. Yes.
And Johnny shoves me and kind of grabs me by the collarbone area, like not really my neck, but top of my neck, above my collarbone, below my neck.
I mean, yeah, okay, never mind. There's so many ways in which that story changes. Not on my collarbone, but above my not on my neck. No, below my neck, but above my collarbone. Which is it? Because I'm pretty sure your neck ends where your collarbone begins. So if it's on the collarbone, it's not on the neck. If it's on the neck, it's not on the collarbone. It can really not be. It's either one of those two things. Unless, of course, he grabbed your ass, in which case it's nowhere near your collarbone, but, you know, do whatever.
It's like
after everything that I've made up, that I've been through, and after my dog stepped on a bee, and the carpet being so filthy, so dirty, this is how people want to treat me.
Jesus. Okay.
You know.
Like he was on top of me, and I'm
I love the little cocaine stain under the nose. Like, there's a little cocaine stain under the nose, just like kind of.
looking at it in his eyes, and I don't see him anymore. I don't see him anymore. It wasn't him. It was black. I've never been.
All right.
I don't remember. I just have that memory. I remember.
Yep. She should have done that, actually. It would have gone
taking
over
a bunch
better.
of sleeping pills. Not a bunch, like 2, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry that I'm late. I have your opening statement. An opening what? Your opening statement. Just 1 second, Your Honor. Hey, did you write an opening statement? What? No, of course not. Well, I didn't. Be so kind as to read the text message that was sent to Miss Heard in 2008. You're acting like a real pee-pee poo-poo head. A pee-pee poo-poo head. No further questions, Your Honor. It's Johnny Depp. My friends are never going to believe this. How exactly did the pirate ship just come into your possession back in 2003? That was for a movie that I was in. A movie, he says. The point that I was trying to make, Your Honor, is how can his finger be cut off if they're made of scissors? I have no further questions. Am I drunk? No. Are you drunk? Objection, Your Honor. Here's
Is cocaine or just leftovers from the 30 days she had over? I don't know, dude. But I can believe that this is a genuine reenactment of Amber Heard's lawyers. Those people are stupid, dude.
hearsay. Objection, hearsay.
Pedal my way back. Sorry. I can't hear you.
Aquaman.
Oh.
Well. Dude, things just seem... What was she thinking? Especially with these lawyers. Like, I mean, surely she has the money to get someone to suggest a good attorney? No? They're the best lawyers in the world, able to make a case out of the shit Amber has given them? I don't know about that. D-Rocker, what stuff is Asmongold reacting to? She wasn't. That's the point. She thought this would go under the rug. Would you get a mistrial, though? I mean, you chose your lawyers. Your lawyers isn't necessarily doing anything, because for a mistrial to happen, you have to be able to prove that your lawyers were completely and utterly inept, which I don't think they were.
Correct?
That's correct.
And you said you reviewed Mr. Depp's testimony at this trial, correct?
That's correct.
And was that also a video of his testimony?
Yes.
And you testified that Mr. Depp demonstrated that his hand was flat on a surface. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's not entirely accurate, is it, though?
No, his description was relatively consistent in both, including turning and resting the hand on the edge.
Isn't it true, Dr. Moore, that when Mr. Depp did the demonstration in his deposition, he showed that his fingers were hanging over the bar?
Well, even hanging over the bar, it still leaves the dorsum of the hand or the nail vulnerable.
That's not my question, Dr. Moore. My question is, isn't it true that Mr. Depp said his fingers were not laying flat on a table, they were hanging over the bar?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you knew that when you made that opinion. Isn't that correct?
Well, I believe that as I demonstrated sitting here, that I said that he had said they were slightly curled over, I think was the description that I gave.
What's the
Your
point of this?
description in this courtroom was that it was laying flat, and I think you've done that now twice. But in your deposition, you testified that his fingers were actually hanging over the bar. Isn't that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Misstates the witness's testimony. He clearly indicated they were curled. Or could have been curled.
Overruled.
So that's a that's a distinction that perhaps I misstated in one of the two descriptions. However, that does not substantially change my opinion of the impact it would have on the mechanism.
Isn't it true that Mr. Depp also testified that the bottle came from an off angle?
Yes.
And you consider that in rendering your opinions today, correct?
Yes, I believe he stated that it came from between 6 and 10 feet. I think it was I think he demonstrated it was off to his right. I can't recall specifically, but it was off angle, yes.
So it didn't come from the top, as you previously testified just a few minutes ago, correct?
Well, no, it would have struck the top of the finger, but it may have been slightly off angle in its approach based on the description.
Mr. Depp described it as off angle, correct?
Correct.
Oof.
Dr. Moore, just at the outset, your billing rate for providing deposition testimony is $1,000 per hour?
That's correct.
That's a lot of
And you were
money.
deposed in this action for several hours on March 22nd, 2022?
That's correct.
And your billing rate for providing trial testimony is $5,000 per day?
That's correct.
Jesus.
You were retained in this case by Ms. Heard's legal team, correct?
Correct.
And over the last few years, you've provided expert services for one of Ms. Heard's law firms on at least 2 other cases, right?
That's correct, yes.
Dr. Moore, is it fair to say that you have no personal knowledge as to how Mr. Depp injured his finger in Australia, correct?
No, I have no personal knowledge. My impression is based on his description of the injury and the available medical records for review.
But you weren't in Australia with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard, correct?
I was not in Australia, no.
And so therefore you have no personal knowledge as to how that injury was sustained.
Correct.
You also never personally examined Mr. Depp's finger, did you?
Correct.
You didn't examine Mr. Depp's finger at the time it was injured.
I did not.
And you never provided any medical treatment to Mr. Depp in connection with his finger injury, did you?
I did not.
Now, you've testified that you identified Mr. Depp's finger injury as a crush injury, correct?
Correct.
And a crush injury is when a body part is crushed or trapped between 2 opposing firm surfaces, yes?
Yes.
And a crush injury to a finger can occur when a foreign object hits the finger, right?
Yes.
And based on the pictures that you reviewed of Mr. Depp's finger injury, you cannot determine what particular object caused the injury to his finger, yes?
Well, I can't determine exactly what object did it. I think that I can say with confidence that the described mechanism of the bottle hitting and shattering the finger was not consistent with the appearance of the injury.
I understand that.
And
My
I think
question is just very specific. You can't determine the object that caused
This is
the injury
hard
to
to
Mr. Depp's
watch.
well, it's a little bit more of a non-specific answer. I mean, I can't determine the exact object, but I can determine that it's unlikely that it was sustained in the manner described.
That makes
A bottle
sense.
is a
Yes, I
foreign
believe you.
object, isn't it?
Yes.
So you can't rule out that the injury to Mr. Depp's finger was caused by a vodka bottle, correct?
Well, based on the injury pattern, I can say that the described mechanism of injury is inconsistent with medical findings.
Right. But because a vodka bottle is a foreign object, you can't rule out that a vodka bottle is what caused Mr. Depp's injury.
Well, I can't rule out that a vodka bottle caused the injury, but I can rule out that it was caused in the manner described in his testimony.
You can't rule out that the injury was caused by a knife, right?
I think it's unlikely that the injury was caused by a knife.
But you can't rule it out.
Well, if a simple knife laceration wouldn't impart the injury to the distal phalanx to result in the comedy fracture. Now, a chopping type, but again, that would likely come from a direction that would create a dorsal injury to create the fracture that was developed.
Do you remember giving testimony in this case?
It really
Dr.
is,
Moore?
Nico.
Deposition?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. And you were under oath, correct?
correct.
All right. And that was on March 22nd, 2022, yes?
Correct.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wait. Does she have him on a lie?
Thank you.
Did he just lie? Or change his testimony? Oof.
Dr. Moore, may I please have you go to page 163 of your deposition, specifically line 17.
This is the moment where this guy is begging in his heart that the judge calls a timeout on this thing. Like, the judge goes, anyways, we'll break for lunch now, so he can revise his fucking story.
$163. Actually, apologies, 164.
Uh-huh.
Line 4.
Correct.
Question, but you can't rule it out completely, right? Answer, I can't rule anything out completely. I can't rule out that he caught it in the door, cut it with a knife, or slammed it in the car door. Or, again, as Dr. Gilmer said, we can't definitively say what caused this injury. Did I read that correctly?
You did.
Your Honor, I would object as the incomplete impeachment. I think if she's going to read his answer, she also needs to read or give Dr. Moore the chance to read the paragraph below. She just picked out half of his answer.
You can redirect.
Yeah,
I'll
as
overrule the
well as the
objection.
paragraph above.
Dr. Moore, there's no question pending. Thank you, though.
Oof. God, that's harsh. Excuse me, I didn't ask you,
So you
ask you a
can't
question.
rule out that the
Shut
injury
the
was
fuck
caused
up.
by a car door either. Is that right?
Correct.
But it's your testimony sitting here today that you can rule out that the injury was caused by a vodka bottle. Is that your testimony?
My testimony is that I can rule out the injury as caused by the mechanism described by Mr. Depp in his deposition.
But you can't definitively say what caused the injury to Mr. Depp's finger.
Well, the definitive injury is a crush injury, again, I can't say. I mean, I think that it's quite likely that the initial mechanism described at the time of presentation of the accordion doors would classically create this injury pattern. You know, the hand up in front. If you picture accordion doors as the edge is closed, if the hand's up, the palm is exposed. If the door's pushed, and the
Dr.
hinge
Moore,
closes about the fingers.
I understand that. But my question is,
I think it's important that they understand that.
this is the time for me to ask you questions. Your counsel will have the ability to rehabilitate you and ask you questions on redirect.
Dude,
right now,
she is feisty
let's
as
try my
fuck.
question.
Okay.
You can't definitively say what caused the injury to Mr. Depp's fingers. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. In conducting your analysis of Mr. Depp's finger injury, you did not attempt to reconstruct the incident. Is that right?
Well, I think the incident was reconstructed. You mean did I throw a vodka bottle at something?
No, no, Dr. Moore. I mean, you didn't do any type of accident reconstruction, either computerized or you didn't conduct any type of accident reconstruction of the alleged.
No, that's correct. My opinion is based on the medical records and the clinical images and Mr. Depp's description.
And your analysis is based on an understanding of how Mr. Depp described the exact position of his finger at the time of the injury. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And your analysis is also based on the assumption that Mr. Depp's hand remained completely still in the instance that a vodka bottle was hurled at him. Yes?
No, my assessment is on his description of the vodka bottle striking the top of his finger.
But his hand stayed still, according to your analysis. Yes?
I guess it was still long enough for the bottle to hit it, but natural reaction would be to try to pull away.
When you perform traumatic finger surgeries, you inquire about the cause of the injuries, correct?
Correct.
And your best information on that is typically just the self-report of the patient, yes?
Correct.
And your assumption is that the patient is trying to get care. Because the patient is trying to get care, that patient is generally telling the truth, right?
You would hope so.
Yeah. You reviewed Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony informing your opinion about Mr. Depp's finger injury, correct?
Correct.
Informing your opinion, did you consider Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony that while Dr. Kipper was providing emergency treatment
Objection,
for
Your
Mr.
Honor.
Depp?
May we approach?
Okay.
Dude, I can't help but think this girl might be the difference maker in this case. Every single time she's on the, like, she's cross-examining, she tears them apart. Johnny Depp also seems so relaxed throughout this entire questioning thing that he does not seem fazed at all, which leads me to believe him. Or walking away smiling. It's like, thank you, Judge.
Let's start over, because it's important the jury hears this. So, informing your opinion, did you consider Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony that while Dr. Kipper was providing emergency treatment for Mr. Depp's finger injury in Australia in the driveway of the house, Mr. Depp told him that his finger was injured when Miss Heard threw a vodka bottle at him?
I don't recall that from the deposition. I'd be happy to review it if you have the deposition available.
Did you consider Dr. Kipper's testimony that he recalled that Mr. Depp's finger was found in the kitchen?
I do recall that.
So you must have also seen Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony that he wasn't the one who actually found the finger, correct?
That's correct.
Dr. Kipper testified that someone he thought was the chef told him he found the finger in the kitchen area, correct?
I'm going to assume so without reading the deposition now.
Did you review any testimony from Ben King in rendering your opinions today?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Did you see any of Mr. King's testimony at this trial?
I did not.
So you're not aware that Mr. King testified that he is the one who found Mr. Depp's finger, are you?
No.
And you're not aware that Mr. King testified that he found Mr. Depp's finger in the bar area, right?
Correct.
And you're not aware that Mr. King testified he found Mr. Depp's finger in a piece of tissue in the bar area, either?
No.
And you're not aware that Mr. King testified that multiple broken liquor bottles were also found in the bar area?
Oh,
right?
shit.
Correct.
She's tearing him
Please pull up
apart, bro.
Defendant's Exhibit 1817, which is already in evidence.
Dude.
And it may be published, please.
I just don't have it yet.
That would help.
Yes. I just have a blank screen at the moment. There we go. Oh, start something.
Thank
there we
you.
go. Okay.
Hold
Have you ever seen this picture before, Dr. Moore?
No.
So you're not aware that this is the bar area where Mr. King testified he found Mr.
Oh my
Depp's
God,
finger?
look at all the blood.
No.
Do you see that broken vodka bottle in the back corner near the bottom of the
Is
bar?
that blood?
Yes.
Do you see the blood drops on the floor?
Yeah, it is
Yes.
blood.
Can we please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 1820, which is already in evidence? Have you seen this picture before, Dr. Moore?
I have not.
So you're not aware that this is also a picture from the bar area where Mr. King testified he found Mr. Depp's finger?
Correct.
Do you see the bloody tissue on the ground at the bottom of the bar?
Yes.
Do you see the blood drops around that tissue?
Yes.
So you didn't consider any of this evidence in rendering your opinion about how Mr. Depp injured his finger in Australia, did you?
I did not.
You didn't know. He
Nothing
didn't
further,
see
Your
it.
Honor. Thank you.
Redirect.
Amber Heard's lawyers didn't want to show him because they knew that would fuck up the entire case.
Can you pull up Exhibit 1817 that was just shown to the witness, please? And can you blow up that what Ms. Vasquez referred to as a broken vodka bottle, Michelle, please? Dr. Moore, what, based on your review of the documents in this case, what did you understand to be the size of the bottle of vodka that Mr. Depp alleged cut off his finger?
The description was that it was a handle, a half-gallon bottle.
And that's bigger than a 750 ml or fifth of liquor, correct?
Yes.
And what size bottle, if to the extent that's even a bottle, what size does that appear to be to you?
Calls for speculation, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
Does that appear to be a handle?
It is.
Objection calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
You can take that down. Dr. Moore, Ms. Vasquez just asked you about Dr. Kipper's deposition testimony, and she said, is that where she claims that Mr. Depp allegedly told him that the finger was severed from a vodka bottle. Do you remember that question a few minutes ago?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
I do remember that question.
Yes, thank you. Is that consistent, that alleged account, is that consistent with the texts you reviewed between Mr. Depp and Dr. Kipper?
No.
And what did those texts say?
As I recall, Mr. Depp indicated that he had cut his finger off.
Now, Ms. Vasquez wouldn't let you finish when you were trying to explain to the jury how Mr. Depp's account of injuring his finger in an accordion door would be perfectly consistent with the photographs you saw. Could you please explain that to the jury?
Well, so again, we tend to try to believe patients. We hope that they come in with an honest history initially, and that's a reasonable mechanism for this to have occurred. And again, if you picture your hand up with either a closure of a hinge or a closure of a door, the palmar surface is exposed. If it's caught in that hinge as it closes, it could be slightly off center. It would pinch that tissue away in a similar fashion, but because it's below the level of the nail bed, it could create this injury with the fracture, the tissue loss, and preserve the nail bed.
How hard did you have to close that door to do that?
Can you look at page 164 of your deposition, the one that Ms. Vasquez just showed you?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to object on hearsay grounds.
Your Honor, she only...
Oh, overruled.
Thank you. Ms. Vasquez asked you a question, and then she read your answer, trying to impeach you, but she only read half of the answer. So I'm going to read the whole answer to the jury, and I'm going to ask you to tell me if I'm reading your answer right, okay? The question is on page 164, line 4, but you can't rule it out completely, right? And you answered, I can't rule anything out completely. I can't rule out that he caught it in the door, cut it with a knife, or slammed it in the car door, or again, as Dr. Gilmore said, we can't definitively say what caused this injury. And then you go on to say, this is where Ms. Vasquez cut you off and didn't let you finish.
I don't think that's in the transcript. Objection.
I'll sustain that.
The rest of your answer that she didn't read to you, Dr. Moore, is the question I can answer is that the mechanism that was described by Mr. Depp and demonstrated by Mr. Depp is inconsistent with the injury pattern that's found on the images and the description. Did I read that right?
Yes.
I have
And
accordion
does
door
that
in my...
remain your opinion today?
Oh, I'm going to take a video of it and show it to you. I'm just going to... Please do, Nixie.
Examination changed any of the opinions that you hold in this case?
No.
I have nothing further. Thank you, Dr. Moore.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Moore, you're free to go, or you can stay in the courtroom. It's up to you. All right, thank you. All right, your next witness.
Your Honor, we'd like to call Dr. David Spiegel.
Dr. Spiegel?
Who exactly won this? Because I don't know if I believe that guy. I mean, he wasn't there. He
All right,
wasn't the
that's
practicing
fine, sir.
physician. Did you think there's something going on between Depp and this lawyer? Like, do you think Depp and this lawyer is doing the dirty? Alex, you don't think so? On what grounds, sir? On what grounds? You pay me $1,000, I will say what you want me to. The doctor will ever be known to me as Dr. Handy. Oh, yeah, because no one ever cheated on their husband or wife, right? It's never happened before. Don't believe the turd. Dude, this is so delicious to watch. I can't believe I wasn't into this sooner. This is very nice to watch. Just watch the train wreck go. Oh, good boy. She's a fucking brilliant lawyer. She would rather get a divorce than cheating. Dude, that's not like a lot of people cheat for the rush of it. And not specifically because they like couldn't get a divorce. Of course, it's always easier to get a divorce and then sleep with whoever the fuck you want. A lot of people cheat for the rush. Rehabilitate the doctor, but the images made the main impact. I mean, based on the images alone, if I was sitting in the jury, I would be going, there's blood there, there's a smashed vodka bottle, his finger was cut off. It kind of makes sense to me that, yeah, this is exactly where it happened. In order to smoosh your finger in an accordion door, it has to already be partially open, which means you wouldn't get as much momentum as you would need to smash your finger off, because the doors open outwards or away from the knob that opens them. Monitors or actual computers? I'm assuming those would just be monitors. And where's the door? She's not going to be disbarred for cheating. She could cheat if she wants to rush. You could, so you won't be disbarred for cheating, but I'm pretty sure it's illegal for a lawyer to get involved, or it's unethical for a lawyer to get involved with their client. And you could potentially be disbarred for that. I think. I'm not like entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure a lawyer isn't allowed to get involved with a client, or an active client at least. Just, yeah, not sure. Unless the husband was down for it. Well, in that case, it's no longer cheating, right? In that case, it's just a menage a trois, or swinging. Dude, does it always take this long between witnesses? Like, how long does it fucking take to get a witness on? I think actually the biggest reason why she and Johnny might not be involved is as a lawyer. So if you were involved with one another, and then you end up losing the court case, you as the client could make a lot of issues for your lawyer. States using the ABA model rules have a pretty clear guideline. A lawyer shall not have sexual relations with a client unless a consensual sexual relationship existed between them when the client-lawyer relationship commenced. So if you were sleeping together before you became the lawyer or the client, then that's fine. So it would be like a husband representing his wife, or a wife representing her husband. That would be fine in that case, but if they didn't know each other beforehand, you're not allowed to engage.
All right.
All right. So, yeah, she could get disbarred.
You solemnly swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case in the penalty of law.
Oh, this woman, she is not that
Thank
good.
you, Your Honor. Will you please tell the jury your full name and business address?
David R. Spiegel. I'm a physician. I work at 825 Fairfax Avenue in Norfolk, Virginia, as part of the Eastern Virginia Medical School.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a physician psychiatrist.
And where do you work? Do you work at?
I work at Eastern Virginia. I'm employed by Eastern Virginia Medical School, but I also work at Norfolk General Hospital, which is the teaching hospital in Norfolk.
How many years have you been practicing as a psychiatrist?
I entered residency in 1989. I graduated residency in 1993. So from 1993 to today, I've been physician practicing.
That's almost 30
That's 30
years.
years, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Please describe for the
Very
jury the
true.
nature of your clinical practice.
So my clinical practice is comprised of both inpatient care at Norfolk General Hospital, as well as my outpatient practice at Eastern Virginia Medical School. About 85 to 90% of my day is clinical between the two components.
And what is involved in a comprehensive evaluation?
So in a comprehensive evaluation, in addition to reviewing the historical information that you receive from collateral other sources, you undertake a history from the patient. You get, whether it's the history of current illness, the past psychiatric history, family history, social history, legal, substance history. Then you do what's called a mental status exam, which is the psychiatric version of the physical exam, where you're actually giving a description of what you see in front of you. Then you can do cognitive testing, which tests the patient memory, attention, concentration, etc. Then you come up with a working and a differential diagnosis, describe any other additional testing you may need or not need, and then you come up with a treatment plan.
All right, cool story, bro.
How many patients have you treated over the 30 years?
Quite a lot.
He's old as fuck. We get it. He's seen a lot of
And
people.
how many patients do you regularly see?
So inpatient is generally about 5 to 8, sometimes more. Outpatients probably 5 to 6, sometimes more. I should point out that my inpatient work is divided between consultation, psychiatry, and I believe we're going to talk about that, as well as working on the inpatient service. So I believe we'll talk about that.
What, if any, differences are there on how many patients you see on weekends as opposed to weekdays?
So when I'm on call, which is on either a Saturday or a Sunday meeting, I have to be in the hospital and around.
Who
It's probably additional
intimidated
35
witnesses,
plus
B.
patients.
Stephen, according to
How
the
frequently do you treat
allegation?
patients who abuse drugs and alcohol?
Unfortunately, drugs and alcohol are part of psychiatric practice. And so probably 3/4 of my patients have substance abuse problems.
Wait, what the fuck? Who has documented history of abuse to her ex-wife? Yeah, B. Stephen, you're subbed. You can link.
Does this include both legal and illegal drugs?
Yes. Put them both together, probably 75%.
And how frequently do you treat patients who have suffered from
Wait, she beat the shit out of her ex? Wait, her wife? So she's bisexual. Oh shit, that things are just getting more and more fucking spicy, dude.
someone in their
the
lives
fuck?
who abuses alcohol and
Oh
drugs?
my Jesus.
On a regular basis, like I said, on a daily basis. This is part of what psychiatry is.
And as part of that treatment of patients who abuse drugs and alcohol, do you evaluate the impact of the abuse on their brains and personal interactions with others?
Yes, substance of abuse, both in the short term and the long term, can affect the brain in terms of mood, behavior, cognition, meaning attention, concentration, memory, ability to control your behavior, as well as your overall level of functioning. It can affect it in the short term, such as alcoholic blackouts.
So this guy's job is
stroke, such as stimulants can.
This guy's job is to
and
make
so
sure that the
at the
jury
end of the
thinks
day,
Johnny Depp is
it's
just
a
brain
rather
dead at this
lengthy,
point, basically.
List of what substance abuse can do to the human brain.
Dr. Spiegel, how frequently have you treated patients who have suffered intimate partner violence?
Again, it's very unfortunate that probably 50% of my patients suffer from trauma. If I had to guess of those 50%, probably 25% of my practice is people who have suffered intimate partner violence.
And how consistent is that with the national average?
In America, unfortunately, it's about 20 to 25%, depending on the study of women have reported intimate partner violence.
And how frequently have you treated patients who have perpetrated the intimate partner violence?
So again, in the outpatient setting, I don't see it quite as much, but in the inpatient setting, again, it's a really relative common phenomena that we'll see perpetrators of partner violence, and they're patients who need treatment too.
And overall, how many patients have you treated who have been perpetrators of intimate partner violence?
Perpetrators?
Yes.
Probably 5 to 10% of the patients I do is perpetrators.
And would you say tens of thousands over the 30 years?
Yes.
And leading.
Overruled. Thank you. As part of treating patients relating to intimate partner violence, do you regularly evaluate these patients?
Do I regularly evaluate the patient?
Evaluate the patient, yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, regularly. I mean, they get the same comprehensive evaluation that I described before.
Are you licensed in Virginia?
Yes, I am.
And when did you first become licensed in Virginia?
1993.
Have you been qualified by courts as an expert witness?
Yes, I have.
In how many states have you been qualified as an expert?
3, which would be Virginia, Maryland, and South Carolina.
Dr. Spiegel, can you please review for the jury your educational background beginning with your undergraduate studies?
So
get
I
to
went
the
to
juice,
University
man.
undergrad. I went to medical school at the State University of New York Health Science Center in Brooklyn, formerly known as Downstate Medical Center. I did my internship and residency between Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center and Penn State Hershey Medical Center.
And
I'm also fellowship board certified in consultation.
Yeah,
liaison
this guy is so fucking expert.
And,
he is the most expert of
where did
all
you do your
experts,
residency and your
by the way.
internship?
So I did my residency for Penn State and internship at Dartmouth.
Okay. And what is your current title and position?
So I am in the acting chair, endowed chair, and professor in the Department of Psychiatry.
I love them in Lord of the Rings.
At Eastern Virginia Medical School.
Are you board certified?
Yes, I am.
And what are you board certified in?
General adult psychiatry and consultation liaison psychiatry as a subspecialty.
Okay. So you have 2 board certifications.
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury what's involved in board certifications in those 2 fields?
So board certification is the standard we strive to in being a physician or any other mental health practitioner. It involves taking a very comprehensive test at the beginning of your career to initiate board certification. Then you get tested again
Every
after
single
10
time the
years.
camera is on her,
Then you have to go
she
through
goes
continual
into
medical education
sad mode
throughout the entire period.
Like, she was literally sitting there as the camera panned. She was sitting there looking back at her lawyer.
Things in your
And the
practice.
camera is now panning, and suddenly
again,
she's
this
like,
is throughout. This occurs always throughout the years.
Now, are you a member of any professional organization?
Jesus.
Yes, I am.
Could you
I'm
please
a
tell the
member
jury?
of the American Psychiatric Association, as well as the fellow of the American Psychiatric Association. I'm a member of the Medical Society of Virginia. I'm a member of the Psychiatric Society of Virginia. I'm a member of the Tidewater Academy of Psychiatry, and I'm a member of the
Arians
Academy of
Valentine, how you
Consultation
doing?
Liaison Psychiatry.
Do you have any teaching responsibilities?
Teaching,
Teach-
oh, yeah.
teaching, yes.
So yes, so teaching is a daily occurrence as part of my job when I do my inpatient rounds. Residents, medical students, physician assistant students are assigned, so we round together, and there's teaching with every single encounter.
Yeah, he is
in addition
Fellowship
to that,
of the Ring.
I teach lectures to the residents, to the third, second, and first year medical students, as well as a fourth year medical student lecture as well. So I'm constantly teaching.
Have you engaged in any hands-on training of psychiatrists practicing in Virginia?
Hands-on training with the residents?
With psychiatrists?
Oh, yeah. So again, I'm teaching at bedside. I mean, we don't speak in front of the patient, obviously.
Dude,
but I'm
we
teaching at
fucking
bedside.
get
Meaning
it.
after we see a
Jesus.
patient, we discuss important
This guy's
points
the
to
biggest
learn.
expert in the
And
world
again,
of
that includes
psychiatry.
residents at every level, That includes medical students, third, second, and first year physician assistant students. So every day is a teaching explanation session to the
Where does this guy get the time? He has so many patients and then also
at Eastern
teaches.
Virginia Medical School as the acting chair? Please tell the jury what that means.
So as the acting chair, you are not only accountable for your own practice, but you are accountable for your faculty members' practices. So I have to make sure that everyone is treating, seeing, evaluating a certain number of patients. I have responsible for their academic requirements, so in terms of publishing, et cetera.
Lots of
I'm
talk, but no
responsible
content.
for their teaching assignments to other residents, to other students. I'm responsible for fiscally that they are accountable to their fiscal productivity. So, and a heck of a lot of other administrative meetings that I go to.
Have you published in your field?
To the tune of about 80 manuscripts, and I have my own book on catatonia and the consultation liaison setting.
You can buy it now.
I have a book chapter on the current and current and contemporary approaches temporomandibular disease, at least the psychiatric portion. I'm also in a dissociative identity disorders chapter on a wiki book.
And have you peer-reviewed literature?
Yes, so I'm a reviewer on. I've served as a reviewer on Lancet. I've served as a reviewer as innovations in clinical neuroscience. I've served on reviewer for clinical neuropharmacology, and I'm actually editor-in-chief of, at this point, of clinical neuropharmacology.
Have you lectured on the effects of drugs and alcohol on the human brain?
Yes, I teach to the residents. I teach lecture to the second
Do
year
you have a
medical
Tinder
students,
profile, sir?
Third year medical students. So I am fully aware of not only what I teach, but
Yeah,
what
would
I
you
see
mind telling us what is the size of your dick? Also, what is your Tinder profile?
Have you published and lectured on the causes and effects of intimate partner abuse?
Yes, I punctured, I believe, 2 articles on the effects of trauma, and in
be
that
Stefan.
trauma was intimate partner.
Can you link that in Discord?
Are you
Because we're probably
familiar
going to
with
have
the
to watch
hallmarks
that.
of intimate partner violence?
Yes.
Are you familiar with what causes intimate partner violence?
One more, excuse me?
What causes intimate partner violence?
There's a multiple explanation that cause intimate partner violence. And if I can just mention at this point too, that when we are discussing intimate partner violence, I think it's imperative for the jury to know we are talking about repetitive behavior over periods of time. And the type of abuse can be any physical, psychological, sexual, but just as important is for somebody, one of the partners, to maintain some uneven element of control or to maintain power, control, or authority. So there are a lot of facets to intimate partner violence. I know people tend to think of it as just the actual abuse act, but there's more to it than just the actual abuse act. Abuse act's important, but it's not the sole thing.
Your Honor, I'd move to qualify Dr. Spiegel as an expert in the field of psychiatry and behavioral sciences with specific emphasis on drug and alcohol abuse, intimate partner violence, and the effect of these as they pertain to the issues in this case.
All right, any objection?
Yes, Your Honor.
You wish to voir dire?
I do.
Okay. To his qualifications.
His qualifications.
Okay, thank you.
So what do we have now?
Sir, you talked about 2 board certifications, general adult psychiatry.
Yes.
And liaison consultation psychiatry.
Other way around, but consultation liaison
psychiatry.
Subtle point.
Right. Now, that is not intimate partner violence. That deals with a issue of comorbidity between people who have medical problems and health problems.
So you're saying it's subspecialty?
Yes.
So consultation liaison psychiatry does have that, but you're also treating patients who have medical illness who have comorbid psychiatric illness, or people who have psychiatric illness that have comorbid medical illness. And many of the patients that I see on the trauma service have tried to take their own life, And unfortunately, as part of that, intimate partner violence and trauma in general is part and parcel of that. So it's very, very narrow.
talking to the jury.
Medical psychiatric interface. It's much more
Even tighter, bro.
psychiatric patients who need medical help, medical patients who develop psychiatric problems, but also that interface.
So, as a subset of your
Thanks, Stephen.
trauma patients, which you say are about 50% of your practice, as a subset of that practice, some people have been involved with intimate partner violence.
So as a subset of my overall practice, 50% have suffered from trauma. About half of that number have suffered from, about 20, so it's about 20% that suffer from intimate partner violence.
All right. You've never conducted any empirical research on individuals who experienced intimate partner violence, have you, sir?
If your definition is trials, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Like pharmaceutical trials, or what are you saying? Is that what you're saying? Because I've done review articles on patients who suffered from trauma. So the answer is, I haven't done any studies like where you give them medication for treatment or try one treatment versus another. I've reviewed the body of literature on intimate partner violence to get 2 review articles, yes.
So you've read about it, is what you just testified to.
I would have to disagree with you on that, sir. Reading about it and writing a review article are completely 2 different things, sir.
All right.
No,
you
it's
haven't
not.
authored any articles specifically on IPV, have you, sir?
As a subset of trauma, the answer is yes. In terms of in the name of the title of the article, the answer is no.
You've never written any books specifically on IPV?
I've never written any books on IPV, although temporomandibular disease, okay, in terms of psychiatric issues, does have a higher frequency in those patients who have suffered from trauma, including intimate partner violence.
You've never.
And I am part of that book.
Okay. Clayton, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that.
Disease
Welcome to the
deals
channel.
with
Welcome to how?
problems with the jaw.
Is that a question, sir?
What is temporomandibular?
Temporomandibular disease is a problem with oral issues, yeah, but there are many patients who complain of oral issues where the oral surgeon cannot find a reason for it, and the reason why they can't is because people who have suffered from trauma and intimate partner violence are prone to increased sensitivity of somatic sensations, which can manifest in temporomandibular disease. Thank you, I appreciate that. Nice plug for my book, too, thank you.
Didn't hear it, but there we go. So,
The
you
fuck?
haven't written any
Jesse, thanks for the
chapters
first
of any
chapter. Really
books
appreciate that. Welcome to the
specifically
channel.
about
Thank you, thank you,
IPV.
thank you.
Again, I think I've gone over that. I've written 2 articles on that, and I've written parts of chapters. And dissociative identity disorder, I should add, where I did write a chapter on, is completely based on trauma and intimate partner violence.
Right. I'm not asking you about trauma because you want to talk about trauma. I'm asking you about IPV specifically.
I will reiterate again, you cannot separate intimate partner violence and say that is a separate rubric aside from trauma. Trauma is overall, intimate partner violence is part of trauma, and the answer to the question is any individual who suffers from a dissociative disorder, which I am the author of a chapter of, suffers from trauma, whether it be at the hands of childhood
okay,
or
we
in
get
the
it.
hands of an intimate partner.
All intimate partner
Right,
violence
you've already
is trauma,
testified that
but not all trauma
half
is
the
intimate
practice is trauma,
partner
and
violence.
A subset
Fuck.
of that practice is IPV, correct?
Which is actually I treat the national average of patients. About 20% of patients suffer from it, and that's about my practice number.
Except you're discounting the fact that half your practice is not trauma at all. So 10% of your practice is IPV.
I don't know if the numbers add up exactly like that.
I'm just using yours.
I don't know if I'm doing. I don't know if those numbers add up like that because I'm not sure if that's the case. If you say 25%, then maybe 12.5% of my practice. That's being rather specific. So again, a significant number of my patients have suffered from intimate partner violence. I see it on a daily basis, and I'm not sure exactly why I'm.
That lawyer
getting
is
asked the
bored
same
too,
question again.
dude. The lawyer
Well,
there
thank
is
you,
bored
sir.
as well.
You
Like,
listed
fuck, such
60
as
references
us.
to articles. I guess you said 80 now, and publications. And
I said around, sorry, I said around 80. I said around 80.
60, 80, whatever it is, right?
No, 60 and 80 is not, if you go to the PubMed app, you can go to PubMed right now and Google, not Google, put PubMed Spiegel DR, and you'll find that number is 72 with 2 waiting to be impressed. 1 submitted, so that'd be 75. So I said around 80. So again, what's on my CV is not necessarily the most updated version, because I still publish since the CV's been given to you, sir.
Right. And not one of the 72, 80 articles has IPV in the title, right?
Correct. Not one of them has IPV. It does have trauma, but not IPV.
Right. And you've never presented on the topic of IPV specifically?
As a function of trauma and as a function of somatic illness, again, I would say to you that it's part and parcel of these illnesses. So the answer is yes, I have. Okay.
Right.
The answer is yes, I have.
And IPV doesn't appear in your CV at all.
If you say it's not in my CV, I will believe you.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that are not in my CV that I do. So.
And you're not associated with any professional literature on IPV.
I'm sorry, repeat the question, sir?
Is there any professional literature that you've contributed to relative to IPV specifically as
Do you guys want to watch
opposed to
this
trauma
train
generally?
smash, or first want to watch this and then get back to the train
The answer
smash?
to the question again, sir, is that you cannot separate this artificial separation you're trying to do between trauma and intimate partner violence. It is part and parcel of trauma. We don't.
Oleg, you're not
stray like
alone.
that.
This guy,
Your Honor,
he keeps saying
plaintiff would accept
bullshit.
this witness as an expert on general psychiatry, but and with respect to the drug usage issues that Ms. Bredehoff referenced, but not with respect to IPV.
All right, over objection, he's entered as an expert as stated on the record. All right, you may continue. Thank you.
Very much, Your Honor. Dr. Spiegel.
All right, let's quickly watch this.
It's been over a week since the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case took a pause in order for the judge of the case to handle other business. But now things are back to where they were before, and that means that there's going to be a lot of things said by both Johnny Depp's team and Amber Heard's team. In fact, Amber Heard herself is still on the stand because of where the hiatus left off. And as a result of that, she had a lot to say still, and then a lot to try and defend against. We'll break it down for you, but before we do that, go ahead and do us a favor by leaving a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video.
Yeah, let's go.
You want to win an iPhone 12, maybe a MacBook Pro. How
The
about
fuck? I thought we were getting
$500
straight into the
cash?
video.
All you have to do is comment the secret hidden message somewhere in this video. That's it. Oh, and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep affording
get straight
these
into the
giveaways.
video.
Winner will
Ad.
be announced at the last day of each month. Thanks for watching and good luck. Number 6, the first fight.
I tried to, he would make these comments about, whoring myself out, but do so in the context of me acting, and he would talk about other actresses who do my role in this way where they were worthless whores, that they were, fame hungry, expletive, just this, the point is it felt really dirty to be an actor. Never mind that he was one. It was dirty that I wanted to do this job that I wanted to do, and I was doing the job of an actress. It was every time I was walking out of the house, he would ask me, "That's really what you're wearing, kid? Oh, I see."
Amber Heard was back on the stand to finish
Okay.
direct examination by her legal team. She said the first act of physical violence by Johnny Depp occurred in 2012. It changes your life forever, she said. You never forget the first time someone hits you like that. I just get the date wrong. Earlier, Heard testified that the first argument over the Winnow Forever tattoo happened in 2013. She was able to clarify the date by looking over therapy notes, which some would argue is convenient. But since we don't have the notes ourselves, we can't say one way or the other. Heard said she wanted to believe she was not hit so early in the relationship with Depp. The violence was almost normal, she said. The brain does with trauma what it does, puts it away the best it can.
I wore a dress to an event once, and I felt beautiful in it. Like, stupid as that sounds, I felt pretty in this dress I picked out, and I showed it him because it's a carpet, it's red carpet, so it's like, publicized, and I kind of thought it was weird he wasn't saying anything about it. You know, I left him to go do this red carpet, and I was like,
Sebby Webbs, how you doing, bro?
The event I went to, you know, basically I felt pretty, and I thought, like, did you see that? You know, I wanted him to say something about that, I guess.
Heard then said she and Depp began recording arguments to get to the heart of their communication issues in a therapeutic way. In audio, Heard often says the word couch. She said this was a safe word that the couple would say as a truce to stop fighting. That may sound odd, but many couples do things like this in order to make it clear that something is wrong. But whether that really happened here is up for debate. Number 5, scenes.
And he said, well, this is after he stopped talking to me for some time, didn't tell me why. When he came back in my life, he wouldn't explain why he was acting different. He just kind of acted mad at me and know what I had done wrong.
I mean, I get it.
And
you're
when
crazy
I brought
as
up
fuck.
the dress and the event, because it was an event to support a charity I was really involved with at the time. And I said, you know, did you see that thing? And he said, yeah, I think the whole world saw that kid. That's how they'll remember you. That's how the world will remember you. And I was like, oh, come on. I mean, it's like, but it, you know, I felt good in it. I felt good. And he said, yeah, kid, that's what you're putting out there in the world. No one will ever forget that. And that's all they'll see you as. That's what you wanted. That's what you were going for. You know, my dress was low cut. I get it.
Heard said Depp was irate while watching a screening of her film London Fields over a sex scene where her body double appeared, saying he slapped her face and pushed or threw her across the room. Heard called the film a source of a lot of fighting between her and Depp. Depp demanded to watch a screening of the film in late summer of 15 as he was unhappy about some of the scenes, Heard said during testimony. They watched a screening at In Depp's chateau in France when a sex scene began that Heard said she was unaware of. A body double was used in her place. Heard told Depp that she didn't film it, but he was upset and called her a among other names. He then slapped her face, punched her across the jaw, and she recalls flying into the old church furniture across the room. She testified she thought she suffered a concussion.
And it continued. And then there would be a blow up. And at first it was just to throw something, smash some things. He loves to smash up a place, an apartment, furniture. That's what it started with. Glass. Threw glass at me, and I remember it was summer. And he just threw this glass across the kitchen, and it didn't hit me, but it shattered behind me, and I remember thinking that it like very easily could have hit me. And that, calling me a whore, it didn't start with using the whore word, it was just comments. Until it would escalate.
I don't believe anything she
I started
says.
to notice the pattern of escalation where he'd.
Amid the screening, Heard was offered a role on a TV series with James Franco and called her consideration of the role a pressure cooker. The role would possibly require brief nudity, which Heard knew she would have to negotiate. And she said Depp didn't want her to work. I called it a week of hell later, she said on the stand Monday. Number 4, reactions. Heard said Depp would pass out and vomit regularly when he drank. An audio was played in which the couple are arguing over whether Heard hit Depp. In the recording, Heard said, I didn't effing you. On the stand, Heard said that there was a disparity between her and Depp in their physical fights. She said Depp proactively punched her and she had to resort to reactively hit him. I'm talking about the difference between a punch, which Johnny did often, and me having to hit him in my defense, she said.
Throw glass or turn over a table. Then he would hit the wall, and then he'd hit the wall really close to my head. You know, like when I'm standing there, you know, just hit the wall, screaming at me. But then he would disappear and get clean and sober, and he'd come back and tell me that he was done drinking, he was over it, he was done, cleaned himself up, he'd done it before, and he'd do it again.
Heard said Depp would blame her for his inability to understand and him misunderstanding interactions. She said she was scared and blamed herself for part in the fights and for putting up with the AB. It felt better to take the blame than to accept the senseless violence that I can't change, she said. No matter what I did, he still hit me. That's very interesting and also convenient, as many on Depp's side would point out, because that audio recording was one that Depp has been trying to get into the courtroom for some time. It was not allowed in the UK libel trial, and it's one of the clearest examples of Heard hitting Depp, and even going so far as to calling him a baby when he couldn't take the hit. And yet here she's stating that this was all a disparity,
she is
and she
so
was only hitting
fucking
him
nuts.
in a reaction. Number 3, backup.
It's seemingly so stupid, so insignificant. I will never forget it. It changed my life. I was sitting on the couch, and we were talking. We were having a normal
Illegally brought them to
conversation.
Australia
We were
after
just-
being told no.
There was no
Oh,
fighting,
I
no
remember that
argument,
story.
nothing. And he was drinking, and I didn't realize at the time, but I think he was using because it was like there was a jar of cocaine out on the table. I realize that sounds weird, but it was like an actual vintage jar of it. But I didn't see him use it at the time, so I didn't really factor that in. I just, he's drinking and we're talking and there's music playing.
Amber Heard said Johnny Depp would use his loyal staff to back him up in their fights. She said he would threaten to call his friends and paid staffers to validate him that Heard was in the wrong. So I knew and I would accept that I was at fault and I'm wrong, she testified, and that was what I had to agree to. Heard said Depp's MO was to call in people to back him up. This is another convenient thing to be said by Heard because many who have testified on Depp's behalf could be construed as the loyal staff, such as his security guards, his doorman, his sister, and even his doctor. In one swoop, Amber Heard is trying to discredit everyone who's backing up Johnny, saying that all of them are lying.
And he's smoking cigarettes, and we're sitting next to each other on the couch. And I asked him about the tattoo he has on his arm. And to me, it just looked like black marks. I didn't know what it said. It just looked like muddled, faded tattoo that was hard to read. And I said, what does it say? And he said it says wino. It says wino. And I didn't see that. I thought he was joking because it didn't look like it said that at all. And I laughed.
And only she is telling the truth.
What the fuck does
Impossible?
wino
Not at
mean?
all. Unlikely in this case, given the penalties for perjury and obstruction of justice. Very much so. Number 2, crazy. Jurors were shown a video of Depp slamming and breaking kitchen cabinets one morning. Heard said she started the recording because she was afraid. Heard recalled receiving a cryptic text message from Depp and went into his main house in West Hollywood. In the video, Depp appears agitated, repeatedly says mother and kicks kitchen cabinets. Heard asked Depp what happened as he's seen walking around wearing sunglasses and a hat. Depp then swings open kitchen cabinets as he grabs a wine glass, slamming the cabinet door and breaking its glass. Nothing happened this morning, you know that, Heard says to Depp. I just woke up and you were so sweet and nice. We were not even fighting this morning. I just said sorry. Depp got a second wine glass and says to Heard, did something happen to you this morning? Throwing a glass. I don't think so. You want to see crazy? I'll give you effing crazy.
I didn't know what else to do. I
just want to see the fucking FBI
This
thing.
must be
This
a
guy
joke.
takes a long time to get to the title.
This must be a joke because I didn't know what was going on. I just stared at him, kind of laughing still, thinking that he was going to start laughing too to tell me it was a joke.
Ah, Apocalypse.
But
Okay,
he
I
didn't.
get that.
He said, you think it's so funny. You think it's funny. You think you're a funny bitch. And he said to me again. It was clear it wasn't a joke anymore.
Depp pours a glass of wine and notices the recording device Heard had on the table. Oh, you got this going, he said, grabbing the device. The recording then stopped. Believe it or not, this actually kind of proves something that Johnny Depp said about their relationship, mainly that he would go off on other objects, like his father did when getting a bead from his mother, instead of attacking Amber. And this is a sign of that, because he didn't know he was being recorded until the very end, and yet it was clear that he was hurting everything but Amber Heard. Not that she tried to frame it that way, but rather show that this is the monster Johnny that she has testified about many times before. Granted, this does not show off Depp in the best of lights, but it's also not definitive proof that he hurt her physically. He definitely hurt a lot of other things physically though. Number 1, the bed.
I'm an adult and I'm sitting next to the
To be fair though, I can see that, right? If you're really frustrated, sure, it's childish to like break stuff and smash stuff and hit walls and stuff. But what would you rather have? Being beaten up by someone that's frustrated, or them just making noise effectively? Like slamming a kitchen cupboard or punching a door or some shit. Like, which one is better, in your opinion? I would argue the person who takes out their frustrations on the furniture is probably a hell of a lot better than the person that's punching you. The reason I don't believe that Amber Heard is being truthful is the very act of punching a wall or smashing a cupboard or something to that effect is the release of frustration. Now, if you're okay with punching your girlfriend or your wife, why would you need to punch anything else? Right? Because at that point, all you really need to do is just walk up to your girlfriend or your wife and punch them instead. Since they're probably the reason you're frustrated. So, I don't know. Plus, I remember watching that recording, and it's quite a long time that Johnny Depp keeps going on in the kitchen. And one would think at some point, if he was so inclined, he would have already turned towards her and just fucking slapped her.
Man, I love it. And he slapped me for no reason, it seemed like. And I missed the point. It was that stupid. Second slap, I know he's not kidding, but I don't know what else to say or do, so I just stared at him.
Heard said she absolutely did not commit a prank involving putting feces in their bed, calling it disgusting. First of all, I don't think that's funny. I don't know what grown woman does, Heard testified Monday. I was also not in a pranking mood. My life was falling apart. I had just been attacked on my 30th birthday by my violent husband, with whom I was desperately in love and knew I needed to leave. It was not really a jovial time. I don't think that's funny, period. That's disgusting. She continues to blame it on her dogs, whom Depp has testified was impossible due to how he knew
Wait,
those
did she
dogs
just
and
hold
how
up?
small.
I just want to
been
see
attacked
something
on
there.
my 30th birthday by my violent husband, with whom I was desperately in love and knew I needed to leave. It was not really a jovial time. I don't think that's funny, period. That's disgusting. She continues to...
Dude, this girl does everything for the stage. Holding her girlfriend's hand there, and then, of course, letting go as soon as she gets in line of all the cameras and all the people and everything. Very weird fucking chick, this.
To blame it on her dogs, whom Depp has testified was impossible due to how he knew those dogs and how small they were. It was impossible for it to be done by them.
I didn't say anything. I didn't react. I didn't move or freak out or defend myself or say, "What are you doing? You're crazy." I just stared at him because I didn't know what else to do. And he asked me one more time. Hard.
All in all, this testimony that she gave today was all about smacking down what Depp and his allies said before. Whether it works or not, we'll find out. And there you have it, everyone, a look at the statements that Amber Heard gave before her cross-examination started, as well as the impact that they might have on the case as a whole. Do you think that Heard came off well in this time on the stand, or do you think she's being ripped apart story-wise by the cross-examination that has only just begun? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe.
Dude, what the fuck? What did I just watch? Excuse me, but I'm pretty sure this title says Amber Heard under FBI investigation for witness intimidation. There was not a single piece of evidence presented in this entire fucking video of 13 minutes and 11 seconds that shows anything like that. Like, the FBI wasn't even used once. Like, the word FBI, or the acronym FBI, wasn't even used once. I got debated. Wow, this is hard debate. Jesus. Wow. Just wow. That's a dislike, bro. That's dislike. Fucking hell. That is rough, bro. Alright, what is this thing that I absolutely have to watch before the trial continues? Next to you. What is this?
From Notting Hill to white chicks, here are the top 10 times Amber Heard stole quotes for her testimony. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have Notting Hill. During Amber Heard's testimony, she spoke about her and Johnny's first time meeting and basically how they fell in love. So during this, she spoke about a time where Johnny was sober, he wasn't drinking alcohol, and instead he was drinking tea. Lots of tea. If you have been following the trial, her emphasis on how much tea he was drinking might have struck you as a little odd. I mean, I was watching it live and I was a little confused as to why she spoke about it so many times and seemed to care about it so much. Many people on the internet, however, are starting to believe that it may be a reference to Notting Hill. It's similar to a line that Julia Roberts is seen saying to Hugh Grant, and people out there think that the way Amber said it in her testimony was also a mimicked version of how Julia Roberts said it. It may seem like
this
a
is
small
another one of
thing,
those
but in the grand
clickbait
scheme
fucking
of
videos,
all of the
man.
quotes that we're going to talk about on this list today, it certainly becomes a little more interesting.
Naomi,
In
how you
number
doing?
9 spot today, we have Mildred Pierce. During Amber's testimony, she begins talking about what she claims is the first time Johnny hit her. While speaking about this, she claims that after this, Johnny said that he would, quote, rather cut off his hand, end quote, than lay another hand upon her. Many people believe that this is a line that was stolen right from the 1945 film Mildred Pierce. In this film, there's a scene where Mildred sort of suddenly lashes out and she ends up slapping Veda across the face. As Veda stands there looking surprised at what just happened, Mildred apologizes for her actions, saying, quote, I'm so sorry I did that. I've had rather cut off my hand. The lines definitely are similar, whether or not they were directly stolen from these pieces of work. Maybe they're stolen, maybe it's a coincidence, or maybe it just shows how rehearsed the testimony is. In our number 8 spot today, we have the talented Mr. Ripley. This quote is definitely one of the most popular ones floating around the internet today, and it is said to be in reference to Amber Heard's opening statements. People are claiming that Amber was directly quoting the talented Mr. Ripley, which featured a character who would shower people with gifts and then sort of disappear, sort of similar to what Amber testified about her relationship with Johnny. While it's
I feel like this is cool, but I wouldn't say this is like... Wait, what's this? Fraud upon the court, Amber Heard caught lying and cheating.
I take one weekend off to be with my family, and it's of course the weekend that we catch Amber's best friend and the whole legal team lying to the judge. Oh, we got to break this one down for you. I'm Andy Signor. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. We have a full day of Johnny coverage to get to, but I couldn't not cover this story because it's imperative we get the word out on how sneaky Team Amber is being, and it's only week 1. This story is infuriating, guys. All right, so we talked a little bit about Eve Barlow before. Eve Fartlow, as I call her. Yeah, I'm going to own it now because I despise this woman. She is such a snake, and she is now caught doing the same thing that she's accusing everyone else of. Eve Barlow was booted from the court on Friday. We didn't know exactly why. We had seen this footage. Here's the footage in question. Eve Barlow's right here. She's Amber's best friend. Let me go to the full screen so you can see below. She's on her phone, on her laptop. This is all Team Amber right here. These are all Amber people checking and scouring social media. They're not supposed to be doing this. And she had handed over this phone to the Rottenborn, who's going through this image. It's unclear who's cropping what and who's doing what. But this was allegedly the image that brought all this attention to while Georgina, Johnny's friend, was on the stand. Right before Georgina was about to get pulled as a witness and her testimony stricken, it was due to this team finding an image on Instagram to get her out, to say, to trigger the questions of, have you been watching this trial? And here's the phone in question as they're going through the social media posts, etc., handed in by Eve, who's like, verifying and handing and talking.
Well, what's wrong about
and
this?
We've had reports that Eve's the one who handed the phone over to document all this. Meanwhile, here's Amber spreading a note as they're all talking. All this is too much action. Team Johnny's just sitting. They're being calm, collected. They're not breaking any rules. But here you got a whole note system of weird phones and laptops and social media checking live as we're going. It's not right. So Georgina was booted, right? We know that so far. But here's where things get interesting. Eve Barlow, I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to get straight to the transcript. So here's the transcript in question from the court. This happened. We didn't get to hear this, but we got the court reporter. Okay, here's Johnny's lawyer. Your Honor, very briefly, may it please the court. Good morning, Your Honor. Ben Chu for Johnny Depp. I have a matter. It's a very serious one. Won't take much time. Okay. May I approach? Yes, sir. Your Honor, we are moving, or Mr. Depp is moving, for the permanent exclusion of Eve Barlow. Eve Barlow? Who's Eve Barlow? Eve Barlow is a journalist and Miss Heard's current girlfriend. So that's why Eve Barlow's been up on us so hard. Yeah. Not because she's the unbiased Amber fan. She's Amber's girlfriend. Okay, it makes so much more sense. Okay, imagine leaving Johnny Depp and now being stuck with Eve Barlow. Sorry, but let me keep on. I digress. She was sitting in the front row yesterday, and the court ordered her to the back row, and then she was later, as I will discuss in a minute, thrown out at 4:31 p.m. by Lieutenant Porter. But if I could explain to the court what the court is seeing, you will recall yesterday, Mr. Rottenborn came up with what was Miss Barlow's phone. Okay, and he showed you The first document that you're looking at, the shorter version, right? The text. This is a text from Miss Deuters, Gina Deuters. We understand that she was properly excluded, but this is what he showed Your Honor saying to the court, representing to the court that Miss Deuters had texted since the start of this trial. And Your Honor will see that Mr. Rottenberg shown you did not have the date. If you look at the second document, you will see, Your Honor, I'm sorry, it's an Instagram post. So Mr. Rottenborn, it's not like I would know the difference, but I thank you for the clarification. You're welcome. I didn't give my age, but so what Mr. Rottenberg showed you was Miss Deuters' Instagram post without the date. And the second document you're looking at was her post, and it shows the date, which makes it very clear that this was January 8, 2021. That is material misrepresentation. Miss Deuters posted this during the London trial. So hold on. What?
Whoa.
Yes. Gina, who was kicked out, they basically took a screenshot of this Instagram post, which Eve did, cropped the date out, which would have shown it was from the UK trial, where she says, our dear friend's got a few wins in court this week and yet some press coverage to belittle him as desperate in his plight. You know what? Anyway, this was reacting to the UK trial, not the trial we're currently in. That was very disturbing to see that they did this. We believe it was fraud upon the court. We believe that Mr. Rottenborn, an officer of the court, should have taken a look at what he was handing up to the court, especially since it was handed to him by someone improperly sitting in the first row, a reporter, and Miss Heard's girlfriend. And that's not where it ends, Your Honor, unfortunately. Miss Barlow has been passing notes to and from Miss Heard from the beginning of the trial. And she's been sending out live tweets throughout the trial. Is she still sending out tweets? She was as of 4:31 yesterday when she was removed from this court.
Oh, everything.
I might approach and I'll do it more time. This was Miss Barlow's post during Miss Vasquez opening, and you'll see her, the court. So she was tweeting from the courtroom? She was tweeting in the courtroom. She was sitting right there tweeting during Miss Vasquez opening. Your Honor may remember that Miss Vasquez said that Miss Heard was giving the performance, giving the performance of her lifetime. So she says in real time, actually, it was Vasquez who was giving the performance of a lifetime of her life. So this is contemporaneous. Sorry, I said that wrong. Contemporaneous with my colleagues opening. She's live tweeting and getting it all out to the public. And finally, and this is the last time I'm sorry, Your Honor will remember that when we first raised this issue, Your Honor ordered people to the back. So Miss Barlow reluctantly left. The first seat went to the back. And this is the tweet that got her thrown out the last time. What does Amber Heard hope to achieve? She has a gorgeous 1-year-old daughter, and she said she was beginning the rest of my life in 2021, 12 months after her mother died. And it was at that point that Lieutenant Porter saw her violating the court's order and asked her to leave. Now, Your Honor, if this were just an isolated, well, actually, I'll take that back. It's more. If you violate the order, you violate the order. It's more than enough to get her thrown out permanently, but it also takes place in a context. Your Honor will remember that inappropriate disclosure of the SA violations in violation of the Public Protection Order, perhaps more egregiously because people weren't on participating by VXs. And 2 days before trial, Ms. Heard posted her own Instagram post with her opening argument. And I understand none of the juries referred to it, but she made it very clear in her Instagram post that Mr. Depp's name wasn't mentioned in her op-ed, which was the primary feature of Mr. Rottenborn's opening. That was really egregious. Then during my opening to try and throw me off, Elaine made an improper objection saying, and she tried to mention it. The point is, Your Honor, the court's orders must mean something. We're trying to play by the rules here, and it's outrageous. What Ms. Barlow has done, she was thrown out yesterday, and all we're asking, a very limited form of relief, is that she be barred from attending for the rest of the trial. All right, Elaine, Amber's attorney.
Patrick, but
thank
I
you, Your Honor. I actually had absolutely no clue
I really appreciate
that she was going to raise this morning, so I'm responding to it cold. First of all, Eve
when you guys sub to the channel, please share it so I can fucking see it, because I love saying thank you, and I love when you guys sub. So don't fucking hide it, bro. Don't hide it. Own that shit. Own that shit.
Barlow is not a journalist.
Dude, it's just getting
Second
worse.
Of all, she's not Miss Heard's. Well, I really don't care about all that. She was tweeting live in my courtroom. This is 4:31. Elaine, I don't know about that, Your Honor. Well, I do. I can read it. 4:31, April 14th. Elaine, I know she The court interrupts. I know that the deputies took her out because she was texting. That's against the court order. I don't let anybody. If I find anybody else texting, they don't get to come back in.
Patrick,
so why
you
would she be able to come
motherfucker.
back in?
Thank you so much for 20 gifted subs. Ladies and gentlemen, can we get some hearts in chat? There's 20 of you bastards that now also have a sub. So can we get some can we get some hearts going? Dude, I really appreciate the money. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very much appreciated. Dude, it's just getting worse. Should just use this guy to keep updated. It's getting worse. Like, her team is so fucking sketch. Bro, so sketch. It's like, fuck my life.
Elaine, and I have no knowledge of this, Your Honor, and I know you didn't, and I understand that, and I mean, like, I say when people were passing notes, I thought, well, legal teams, that's why I gave you the first row, because of legal teams, and then more information comes to me in bits and pieces that it's not legal team. Okay, so move back, Elaine. And then, but then she's still texting. So, Elaine says, and let me back up just a little bit. Miss Barlow was not here during the opening. She was not present in the courtroom, and so the court, well, she was.
B. Stefan, you bastard. Thanks for the 5 community subs. They'd really appreciate that. More hearts in chat. Come on. Let's fucking see him, people. Let's see him. We have some, what can only be described as the biggest train wreck in the history of ever happening in front of us. Are you not entertained already? And then we have people dropping cash like we're in a fucking $1 whorehouse. I can't ask for anything better. So thank you so much to everyone dropping the cash, bro. This time around, the cash is going to go for a good cause. I'm going to buy a house. This will be the one and only time that I use the money smartly. Once I have the house, I'm going back to just wasting the fucking money. Maybe I'll get myself a nice jar of Coke like Johnny Depp. You know, be cool and shit. Like a jar of the fucking shit. Just hanging about.
Was present when she did this live tweet in my courtroom. Elaine, well, that may be, Your Honor. I have no knowledge of it. I have no knowledge of it, and I have no way to address that, Your Honor. Well, I do, says the judge. Miss Barlow is not coming back into the courtroom during this trial. Elaine, okay. The court,
easy.
okay? All right. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank
Dude, it
you.
must be
Thank you, Your
so-
Honor. This concludes the considered portion. So, guys.
It must be so nice
this
being
is-
a judge.
This is not going to get to the jury, which is really frustrating to see the first of all, it's a lie, Elaine. Again, so here's during this
So
portion
we've
of
got,
Georgina talking.
on the plane that I was on, it was Johnny.
Here's Ben
Jerry
getting her
Judge,
attention,
Stephen Duters,
telling her about this whole thing.
Debbie Lloyd, and myself, and maybe one other.
Telling all this, getting this thing.
It's
and
not
then
a
here's
joke,
what happens.
Catherine. Cocaine
This
and hookers
prompts
is
the-
how it
the
works.
stand up,
You mentioned
like,
a
do
name
it.
there I don't think we've
Yeah.
heard before. Can you just tell the jury quickly who Debbie Lloyd is?
And then they stand up based on an Instagram post that's invalid, without a date, a random thing they just saw. They go up, and she's now removed. That's it. The judge asked her, "Have you seen testimony?" And Gina goes, "Have you seen it?" And she's like, "Well, I've seen clips."
Dude.
And have you seen the witness?
This is why you never trust anyone from Hollywood. Anyone that's involved in the media, reporters or anything like that, they're all sketch. This is a reporter, by the way, that decided to defraud the fucking courts. These people are fucking scumbags, dude. Is what they are. Scumbags. You know what I loved about sort of, so during the Middle Ages, we studied this quite a lot during theater studies. During the Middle Ages, actors weren't actually allowed to live inside the cities. So acting as a profession was allowed by the church. The church didn't have a problem with actors doing plays and playwrights writing plays and stuff like that. But actors weren't allowed to live inside the cities. The reason why, as a matter of fact, the church believed that actors shouldn't be in cities is because of moral depravity. The church believed that actors had no morals, their moral code was completely fucking numb, and therefore wouldn't be allowed to live inside the cities. Now, regardless of your fucking feelings about the church, and yes, the church was kind of fucking bonkers because they also thought, you know, you burn someone. If they're a witch, they won't burn. If they burn, they're not a witch. Oops, right? So let's just remember that the church is not all good. But when you look at the majority of Hollywood scumbags, do you not agree that these people should absolutely fucking never be a part of society? It is just the worst people in the world. I know because I studied with these fucking people. I spent 4 years of my life with actors, and I can tell you now, they will sell your mother. They will sell their own mothers if it gets them apart, if it makes them look good in the eyes of the people, so to speak. Fucking terrible people.
And she's like, I've seen clips of it. My God, who hasn't seen clips of this? They didn't even like get to, well, what did you see? What did you watch? What did you, no. Just, what if she was walking by the news in the airport? It's so egregious what's happened here. All because Eve Barlow's out there cheating, not doing a real fight. This is terrifying, guys, the resorts they go to. And you want to tell me, oh, she had nothing. She had no idea, guys. She had no idea. Really? Really? How about this? Knew. Who you winking at, Eve? Who were you winking? Oh, sorry, you don't see it. Who were you winking at, Eve?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Look at that.
we just have to take a few housekeeping matters
Who's
up, so
winking
we're just
what?
going to have you take a recess for a few
Look
minutes,
at
okay?
that.
So again, no outside research and don't talk to anybody.
All right.
We got her. Straight to Elaine.
my
Elaine
God.
has no idea who she is.
Fuck,
oh,
I
no,
hate these
Elaine's
people,
not part of
bro.
this at all. Oh, no. I have no idea, Your Honor. This is the first I'm hearing of it. I don't know what you're referring to, except, that time she winked at me after the time she got the note, and I clearly knew she handed the note. But I don't know what you're speaking about, Your Honor. And what's so problematic about all of this is not the first lie that Elaine's been caught in. It's also not the first lie that Amber's been caught on. We're going to get there in a second. But it's really imperative you understand how this all works. Now, lawyers, I guess, are allowed to lie, I've learned, which is really crazy.
When you said
But
all this,
I
and
wanna watch
then
this
there was a
again.
divorce settlement, you got $7 million. People were saying this is all about the money. But then you did something that
faces she
twisted
gives.
that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent, it's called the American
Right.
Civil Liberties Union. They work on behalf of marginalized communities
Later, we would learn
on the
was working
ground
with
and
her.
legislative reform.
Right.
And
Well, more power to you, because that's something that I've never
I
heard
wanted
of.
nothing.
I wanted nothing. Look at that. I wanted nothing. Oh, really,
I
Amber?
hate this girl
really,
so
Amber?
much,
Well,
bro.
Here's Elaine confirming that one. Confirms her client has yet to fulfill the $7 million pledges she made to the.
So I just want you all to know that if any of you donate $1 million, right, I will pledge that money to like 5 charities. I will write the checks myself if they promise not to cash it. That's the same, right? It's the same, right? As long as I've pledged it, as long as I've like said, yeah, I really want to give this money to charity. I don't actually have to give the money to charity, right? If I have a poop fetish, can I still have a thing for Amber? I mean, if you have a poop fetish, she's probably the girl for you, Or house, and not charity, by the way. Evans, I'm helping girls make something better of their lives. Most of those girls are telling me that they're saving up for college. So, if anything, I would be more than happy to take all the money you donate and start a college fund for strippers and hookers. And a cocaine farm.
To either. Amber has already been responsible for 7 figures in donations to charitable causes and intends to continue.
Thank you, Domago. I really appreciate it, bro.
Causes, even though she was contractually obligated to give it to these due to a divorce settlement.
Yeah.
Well, she hasn't been able to and continues to contribute and eventually will fulfill her pledge. Elaine eventually explains. However, Amber has been delayed in that goal because Mr. Depp filed a lawsuit against her and consequently has now been forced to spend millions of dollars defending Mr. Depp's false accusations against her. Oh, is that
That's
right?
not how that
Is that
works.
right? Well, we know when you got the payments. And
Alex,
here's
how
the
you doing,
timeline
brother?
in question. You had the payments, the full $7 million, on February 1st, 2018.
Yeah.
February 1st, 2018. What is that? February to June. The Sun articles published on the 27th. So you had what, 3 months, and then you had another 5-6 months before the lawsuit was placed against the Sun, mind you, not against Amber, against the Sun. And then
Blasphemous Girl.
why would she have to defend herself in the
Not
Sun?
for the
She
cheese
wouldn't have that,
sandwich,
right, guys?
Like, fuck the cheese sandwich, but a subscription to Pornhub, dude, I'm gonna be so popular.
And then on the
Nixie,
18th of
thank you.
2018, she's on the
Thank
radio,
you.
on the
I'll
TV
take that
saying,
to the
yeah,
bank.
$7 million I donated. And I wanted nothing. And then she posts her op-ed, December 2018. And then in 2019, March, that's
Having
when
fun,
the
Alex?
was filed. So basically she had that money
Yeah,
for over a
literally
year.
sued the
She
Sun,
had that money
dude.
for 13 months. 13 months she was sitting on $7 million.
Yeah.
And, January 19th, Children's Hospital sends her a letter saying they have never received the promised $3.5 million. Can you
that's
imagine?
rough, huh?
The Children's Hospital of LA, you've been on television saying you gave the money to them, and you didn't. That's the woman we're fighting against. And there's the lawyer. There's the lawyer who's gonna lie about it. Sorry, make sure I have all my. Elaine just doesn't care. Elaine's gonna lie about it. She says it.
Yeah, but Elaine is an attorney.
Oh yeah, well yeah, she's got.
Who was it? There was some famous. I want to say it may have been Socrates, but it may not have been. But there's a famous philosopher that said, if you want to fix the world, first kill all the lawyers. And I don't think he was wrong.
But then Johnny sued us, so blah 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 blah. Elaine, man, you are caught so often with this crap. It's just sickening. And then I want to go through one more lie while I have you really quickly, and this is an important one. The doctor has now given her testimony. I'm talking about the marriage counselor, and a lot of people are talking about, well, it was mutual. Huge lie caught, and thanks to all the eagle-eyed people paying attention, we got 2 documents.
To be fair, though, B. Stephen, that's not actually how it works. So a lawyer may not actually lie. Like, you can't. So a lawyer, for example, can't knowingly put someone on the stand when they know that that person is about to perjure themselves, right? So if you know that someone is about to tell a lie, you can't actually put them on the stand, because if it's proven that you knew ahead of time that they are going to lie on the stand, you will get disbarred. A lawyer is actually not allowed to lie. So what lawyers will do is they'll do what probably can be referred to sort of as double speak in a way. So instead of saying the thing that would absolutely fuck their client, they will sort of talk around the issue. So they'll avoid the part where they're actually going to lie in order, like, say for example, let's think about an actual, like, an example of this. So say for example, you know for a fact that your client stole someone's Ferrari, yeah? A lawyer can't say that my client has never taken anyone's Ferrari, because if the lawyer knew that the client was guilty and that the client absolutely stole the fucking car, the lawyer can't actually say that. So the lawyer can try and come up with something, for example, like, Your Honor, my client has never taken a vehicle with... My client has never robbed a car or never stolen a car by breaking the windows. Something to that effect, right? So you're sort of adding things onto the original statement. So this is... You're not technically lying. A great example of this actually is, you guys remember when Trump was in the White House? Yeah, and like fucking everyone was sort of angry about everything that Trump did. while there were a lot of things that people were rightfully angry about what Trump did, there were also these news articles that would constantly fucking come out. So Trump, at one point, Trump said he had 2 scoops of ice cream. I think Trump said something like he had 2 scoops of chocolate ice cream. They then got him on a fake news thing by saying the statement that Trump made that he had 2 scoops of chocolate ice cream is false because he actually had 1 scoop of chocolate ice cream and 1 scoop of half and half. Right? It was sort of like, it was one of those fucking articles where they sort of went after him for lying about the ice cream that he had. So technically speaking, they're correct. He did lie because he said he had chocolate ice cream, and obviously he didn't just have chocolate ice cream. But you're sort of like, you're picking a very specific avenue in order to make your case. Right? That's what lawyers can do. That so a lawyer can pick a very narrow window and sort of push through that window, whilst avoiding the lie, so to speak. Apocalypse, I didn't kill you. I was holding the knife that entered your body, but you later died in hospital due to the negligence of the EMT. Yeah, Apocalypse is correct. That's pretty much, a lawyer can do something like that. Well, actually, no. My client did not kill you. My client simply held the knife that you walked into, right? And then you died on your way to the hospital because the ambulance was driving too slow, or whatever the case might be. So the lawyer technically didn't lie. They just changed the story to fit the narrative. But yeah, the lawyer can't stand up and say, my client did not kill that person. My client is absolutely innocent. My client didn't even hold the knife, if the lawyer knew that the client had held the knife.
Documents that I can show you. This is what, the depositions, etc. It happened on the night of the 15th. This was the worst night of our relationship. That's when things happened. However, the notes from the doctor, they make it very clear.
Nixie, that's actually the perfect example of this. It's actually the perfect example of this. When Amber Heard said, I could never hurt Johnny, you're so correct. Because so her lawyers most likely coached her to say it exactly like that. Because Amber Heard can't say that I never hit Johnny. There's literal evidence of her actually hitting Johnny. So she can't say that. But if she said I could never hurt Johnny, well, yeah, I did slap him, but look at me, I'm a girl. I can't hurt him. How am I supposed to hurt him? I'm just a little girl. So technically she didn't perjure herself. She's not lying. She probably didn't hurt him. She did slap him, but she probably didn't do damage.
It was the morning. That morning is when she was, and not only did she explain all the worst that happened, she also wanted to ask the marriage counsel, should she call the police, or she doesn't want a divorce, but she wants to divorce. But will she have an advantage if she leaves him but files with the police before? Literally talking about what kind of will I have the advantage to her marriage counselor, while she's now giving her marriage counselor the improper deposition that she gives later. Was it morning? Was it night? How do you forget that? How do you forget that? That's on the same day. Oh, it was the morning. Oh no, it was the night. Dude, Amber girl, you're caught. You look awful.
Yeah.
And Eve Barlow, Eve, you are the worst. Eve Fartlow, we should get it trending again. Despicable. You are despicable. You don't care about the truth. She's just your girlfriend. I'm glad we finally got the bias explained. That's why. That's why she's there. That's why they're so tight. There they are. Don't quit standing up for Amber.
How many years do you guys give it before she files an indictment against Amber Heard as well, or a restraining order against Amber for spousal abuse or some shit? Like, how long do you guys give it?
She doesn't care about you. She's got no one left. Making her cold the groceries. Oh my goodness. Oh, I despise these women. It's sickening. It is sickening what they've done to Johnny, and we'll be covering it all week for you here on this channel. So make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Can you make sure you are subscribed? Hit the bell for all alerts.
Dude,
hit that like button while you're on there and leave a comment. What do you think of all this? And if you really, really are frustrated, share it. Get the word out. Thank you guys so much for watching.
The thing is, it's not going to get better, right? And I see a lot of you sort of saying, well, actually, Akalon, it's, you know, maybe once her popularity drops or something like that. People who abuse their spouse don't just magically stop, right? It's not like just one day you wake up and you go, well, actually, never mind, right? I won't hit you anymore. There's this really fucking good... I just want to see if I can find this. I think it's this one.
Wife's head into...
Yeah.
No, we have these huge battles. You know what the maddest she ever got at me was? One time she was watching this show. It was like a poor excuse for The View. And they started talking about domestic violence, right? For the 9 millionth time this year, they're talking about domestic violence. Just in case, you know, you didn't get the memo, you know? Evidently, you know, just some people didn't get it. It's not okay to slam your wife's head into the cupboard drawers because she didn't dry the can opener off properly, you know? It's gonna fucking rust, right? How do you not know not to do that shit? Do they really have to keep talking about it? It's like wife beaters watching? Oh, fuck, now I get it. Ups a daisy, sweetheart, here we go. There you go, oh.
Oh my God.
At the end of the hour, they come to the logical conclusion. They're like, there is no reason to hit a woman. There is no reason to hit a woman. And I was just like, really? I could give you like 17 right off the top of my head. You could wake me from a drunken stupor, I could still give you like 9. Dude, there's plenty of reasons to hit a woman. You just don't do it. But to sit there and suggest that there's no reason. Dude, the level of ego behind that statement. What are you, levitating above the rest of us? You're never annoying?
Oh my God.
Women, how many times have you thought about slapping your fucking guy in the head this week? There you go. Every day. You didn't do it, right? Oh, dude, it drives me nuts. There's no reason.
Anyways, yeah, I just, like, people who abuse their spouses are gonna do it. So I think if Amber Heard actually did do it, she's gonna do it again. That's just how it goes. She is going to do it again. Anyways, let's get back to our friend here.
Blasted for was he was, kind of teaching Amber how to use conflict resolution in a more appropriate manner and learning to express things more rationally rather than express things as irrational as they have been expressed. And for that, there were a lot of negativity being sworn at. So again, erratic behavior in terms of writing a text, but I have no problem with people being angry. Okay, none whatsoever. It's just the expressing of it, and continual ranting of it.
He's now actually giving testimony, so let's see.
But regardless, I think we have seen in terms of erratic behavior, much of the psychological and the physical maltreatment we talked about.
Objection beyond the scope of the question.
I don't agree.
Sustain next question.
Okay. Mr. Depp is 58 years old.
Yeah.
Are the behaviors that you have been describing for the jury, are those typical and age-related?
No, so while I don't consider 58 years old, I'm 59, okay? I will tell you that the age-related changes that occur in humans are very erratic, hit and miss, meaning they'll occasionally be there. You may need a little bit more time to answer a question or pull things out of memory. You're just a little bit slow and a lot more inconsistently slow. You wouldn't describe what Dr. Blaustein's changes were or what I saw in the deposition attributed to age.
The actual
Dr.
God,
Spiegel,
this
what
guy.
is Seroquel?
Seroquel or quetiapine is actually an atypical antipsychotic, which is indicated for many things, including schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, adjunctive treatment for major depression. So it's indicated for a lot of things.
But what effects may it have? I mean, this is one of the drugs that Mr. Depp was taking,
Yes.
correct? It was a prescribed drug?
Yes.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, please
So
explain.
the effect of Seroquel is it's very often used as a sleeping agent because it doesn't have a lot of the side effects that are associated with conventional antipsychotics, movement disorders, tardive dyskinesia, et cetera, or at least it's a very low risk of that. So people have used it off-label, physicians have used it off-label to help them sleep. The problem is the effect is very barbiturate-like, and it really knocks people out, or certainly if you use it at high enough doses it can, okay? And the problem is it also has street value. So it's absolutely used on the street for that downer-like effect. And obviously it's a little bit more readily available because it's prescribed.
Is
So
this guy making the
it
case
does
that
have
Johnny
street
Depp is
value
psycho?
portion.
And Dr. Spiegel, what effect would this have on Mr. Depp based on the dosages he was taking?
So I think what you're looking at is
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. Please continue.
what you will see in patients who have substance use disorders are people who unfortunately kind of wake up and fall asleep only through pharmacological assistance, meaning that their own circadian rhythms are no longer in control of that behavior. So you will take stimulants to quote unquote get you up in the morning, and then you will take things like quetiapine, Seroquel to knock you out. So basically what these are being used for is I'm going to get up and I'm going to get knocked out. And that's very characteristic of what would be actually legal prescribed substances. That's not illegal at all. That's very legal. And that's the seemingly what these medicines affect are on patients who have substance use disorder.
But do you know?
Dr. Spiegel, what is Neurontin?
So Neurontin gabapentin is actually an anti-seizure medicine, which I think is it's indicated for seizures, and it might be indicated for one chronic pain condition, although I can't swear that to you. That said, again, in a substance use disorder population, it has significant street value, and people who misuse opiates often supplement that with Neurontin because it has this anti-pain.
It feels like what this guy is doing so far from what we've watched. He's okay, so they're running through all the drugs that Johnny Depp has in his house, right? So all the drugs that he has taken. And what this guy is doing is he's just reading the sort of what the drug's intended use is on the label. So what you would use a drug like this for, sleeping aid or a downer or whatever the case might be, and then sort of going, well, also if you're a drug addict, right, you would use these things. It's like, well, okay, so do you know specifically that that's why he's used these drugs? Like, do you know that?
Calming effect. So unfortunately, it also can cause respiratory suppression. And so when you use it with opiates, there are people that are lucky enough to succumb to respiratory suppression as a result. But it has a very additive, calming effect that people use it for.
And what effect would this have on Mr. Depp in the dosages he was taking?
Again, I was waiting for an objection. Okay, again, what it would do is have the street value of using it with the opiates. The advantage is you're using it with opiates, and it's making, because opiates in general, despite everything else it does, are calming. And you use it with it, it offers further calming, which is why doctors have been warned not to prescribe medications like gabapentin and opiates together,
but if it's,
unless under significant, strict following.
If it's
that's gonna cause
calming,
serious problems.
would a really calm guy
Such as
hit
death.
his wife?
Respiratory suppression.
He's
And
chilling, bro.
Mr. Depp was also taking Adderall, correct?
Yes.
Can you please describe to the jury what that impact would have, and particularly in connection with the dosages?
So, Adderall is a psychostimulant, which is prescribed relatively regularly for ADHD. The problem comes again when you shouldn't be prescribing or receiving Adderall when you're already misusing cocaine. Okay, you're now doubling your stimulant dosage here. And basically, what you are talking about, again, it comes down to in the substance use disorder population, you are using it to stay awake, have energy, keep yourself going, getting high, getting energetic. And then the only way to kind of combat that, because you have this effect, is to kind of take downers during the day, and downers being anything that's calming. So anywhere from opiates prescription, anywhere from Neurontin, anywhere from Seroquel, all medications that are not potentially, which are abusable. And so that's what this is going on. That's what the substance use disorder patient has, and it can't be given with someone using cocaine.
Yeah.
That's an extreme risk for death. You can't be given together.
And what, if any, effect would these drugs have if they were mixed with MDMA or cocaine?
So when you combine the two together, like I talked about before, there are effects where you are looking at, right, the predisposing traits of intimate partner violence. So jealousy, rapid mood changes, poor self-control, and to some degree, condoning violence to a certain degree. When you combine them all together, you get this disinhibiting euphoriant effect from cocaine and Adderall. Then when you combine the two together, what happens? You get too much, and then you start getting irritable, you start getting agitated, okay? You start becoming suspicious, jealous, potentially disinhibited, psychotic, and these are the risks. And again, we're talking about not your average everyday use of these substances. We are talking about chronic use together. And we also know that
this guy is
alcohol and
potting it
cocaine
on
use
thick.
independently increase significantly the risk of intimate partner violence. These aren't statistics I'm coming up with. They all depend, anywhere from reports up to 7 to 27-fold. So you are, quote unquote, colloquially playing with fire when you're talking about substances and intimate partner violence. You are playing with fire. And that's all of us.
And the substances that Mr. Depp was taking and the record evidence relating to those, did you draw any conclusions concerning
I don't know
whether he met this criteria or these risk factors?
So in terms of substance use disorder, when you look at it, so major role obligations not being fulfilled, don't have any evidence about operating under the influence or not. Social issues, especially disagreements and arguments with your spouse or family. Obviously, there was tolerance and dependence for the amount he was using, because if anyone is naive to these medications, most of us would be dead. Unsuccessful efforts, difficulty cutting back, using more than intended, giving up social occupational obligations because this, I know there was right after the rehab on the island in Australia when Mr. Depp went out partying with Marilyn Manson and using...
Objection beyond the scope of the question.
Actually, that's asking for the record evidence for this.
Sustain the objection. Next question.
Okay.
What other record evidence did you have supporting this?
This is so painful to watch.
Psychological, using despite the fact you know it causes known psychological, psychiatric, or medical effects. And I think that's been pretty well documented. So in this case, you're talking about someone who has a severe substance use disorder. I do want to emphasize, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that intimate partner violence and substance use disorders are two scourges in this country. They're two plagues. This is very serious stuff we're playing with. And when you are just getting someone closer and closer to the threshold.
Objection, Your Honor.
What the fuck does that have
Relevance.
to do with anything, you fucking asshole?
It's highly relevant. I'll overrule as to relevance.
Beyond the scope.
Go ahead. Beyond the scope of the question?
Yes.
All right, I'll sustain that objection.
All right. Tell me more about the relationships between substance abuse and IPV, please.
Yeah, so again, that you are talking about this and you may be able to control the risk factors for any of us may be able to control the risk factors for IPV. Any of us might be able to, okay? When we're thinking and we're not disinhibited, not having these hyper intense emotions from substances. Once you add that to this mix, your brain can no longer do what it's supposed to do. And it's supposed to prevent you from doing this, quite frankly, because it's wrong.
Did you arrive at any
What the
conclusions
fuck,
concerning
dude?
substance
If you're a
abuse and potential
psychopath, your brain is
self-harm that
actively
may have
telling
led
you to do these
Mr.
things.
Depp
So
injuring
what are you
his finger?
saying?
So I think the physician before me explained that pretty well, but I'll tell you that Mr. Depp has a history of self-injurious behavior, meaning cutting himself. Mr. Depp has a history of burning himself. I know when the actual event happened, there was texting to Dr. Kipper, paraphrasing, not saying exactly, that Amber and him got into a disagreement related to her wanting him to be sober. And then as a result of that, he said he got so angry, he cut the tip of his finger off. So if you're asking me, can someone who has, or have I seen, and can someone who cuts themselves, burns themselves, can cut a tip of their finger off with or without alcohol or cocaine or the rest? The answer is
Objection beyond the scope of the question.
That's exactly what overruled. Thank you. Please continue.
Was it overruled?
It was overruled.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So that is not a very far jump. I've certainly seen patients do a lot worse than that who started out with similar risk factors of, burning self and cutting self. I'm not going to get into the descriptions, but I've seen people do a lot worse than that.
Oh,
So
you're
the
not going to
answer
get
is
into
yes.
the... Okay, never mind.
I'm going to turn now specifically to intimate partner violence, and I know you've talked certainly about it. But can you tell the jury, please, a little bit more about intimate partner violence and what is included in that?
So the APA Task Force on Violence in the Family defined more or less this topic of domestic abuse, intimate partner violence, as recurrent abusive behavior by means of psychological, sexual, or physical maltreatment for the purpose of achieving control or maintaining power,
Apocalypse,
authority.
Put that into concentrations. We'll watch it as soon as my power
Can
comes
it
back on.
include threats and intimidation?
It includes, so in the part of psychological abuse, which is done essentially as a means of emotionally and mentally hurting someone, but with the same end goal to achieve control, it can be destroying property, it can be financial, which is part of that, verbal outbursts, threats, intimidation, body language, all of that goes under the concept of psychological abuse. And you may be able to
This guy
divide
is-
it, verbal, nonverbal,
I don't like him.
what's exactly emotional versus verbal, but they're all under that rubric, and they're all under the guise of maintaining control.
Do survivors of intimate partner violence experience mental health issues?
Can you repeat the question?
Do survivors of intimate partner violence experience mental health issues?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So survivors of intimate partner violence, and by the way, I should start out by saying we don't expect, in psychiatry, we don't expect our victims to be perfect. We don't expect our victims to be unscathed by what they've received. So starting with that, okay, it is not unusual as survivors to see substance use, substance abuse, substance-induced symptoms, chronic depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, or a subsyndromal post-traumatic stress disorder along the lines of Bader-Weiss syndrome. And some
pretty true,
emotional
yeah.
unpredictability. And again, you are a victim here. You are a victim.
Do perpetrators typically seek treatment or counseling?
No, perpetrators are not receiving counseling treatment. One, because they're going to be probably having to tell someone that they actually struck someone, which is what their thought is about the big problem that intimate partner violence is just the hitting. Again, important, but not the sole part of it. So perpetrators very rarely will go into any type of formal counseling. Victims go into counseling. Victims are seeking actually couples counseling. Victims are seeking couples advice to try to repair what's happening.
Oh,
okay. But in terms of actual perpetrators, no, they don't do that.
In your review of this case, is there record evidence of physical violence by Mr. Depp?
So,
Objection, Your Honor.
Would you like to
No
approach?
foundation.
Do you want to approach him?
Well, how would this guy even know? Dude, Jesus, I dislike this guy severely. He just seems like the guy, like, he's just mouthed off a bunch of bullshit that I'm not entirely sure how most of this, if any, is relevant to the case. Because, yeah, basically just said, oh, Johnny Depp was in all this stuff, and yeah, that could cause IPV. It could cause, but have you shown that it did cause? Because that's sort of the big thing, right? Do you have any evidence to show that it absolutely did cause abuse? Because just because it could doesn't mean it will. Everything he said could be applied to both sides as well. I'm waiting for... It's just sad that my fucking power is going off soon. Because I'm pretty sure once Johnny Depp's lawyers get their hands on this guy's going to get flipped. Like, suddenly he's going to be providing evidence on behalf of Johnny Depp. So, I'm pretty sure that is what's going to happen. Oh my God. To fool this guy, all you have to do is be the one that asks therapy, and then you can't be the one at fault. The issue that I would have with his argument there is that almost, I would say 95% of all actors in Hollywood is in therapy for whatever fucking reason, right? Because being in therapy these days is cool. Even if you don't really have a problem. If you can afford to just pay someone to listen to your bullshit for about an hour a week. So that argument to me wouldn't necessarily be a good argument for... It could just be that... Because I think the reason he made that point is because Amber Heard is in therapy and Johnny Depp most likely isn't. So he's saying the fact that Amber Heard is in therapy proves that she did not abuse Mr. Depp, but rather that Mr. Depp abused her. Because he wasn't in therapy. And it's sort of like, but dude, you can't really fucking say that, right? Rurikhan, how you doing, brother? Wait, were we? Wait, did you message me today, Rurikhan? I didn't get any messages. No, I didn't. Dude, I do apologize. My dates and my times are fucked. Assume we were after we talked. Dude, I am so sorry. I completely forgot what day we said. So, yeah, whichever day this week suits you, just give me the time on Discord, and then from next week I'll remember to do it on Mondays. I do apologize for like, really fucking sorry about that, dude. Days for me is a nightmare. Like crap all day. No worries, mate. Oh shit. What's wrong, Rurikhan? Shamanita, how you doing? Objection assumptions. My brother's sick as well now. I wonder if there's not like something going around. Ah, dude, stomach pain is not fun. Not fun at all. Just got here. Why are the officers standing? Dude, I have no idea. That is quite interesting. I didn't even notice that the officers were sort of standing there. They seem to be looking at someone. Or maybe they're just moving forward to keep the peace, keep people quiet or some shit. I don't know. I know the judge and these two lawyers are talking for an age about whether or not these things should be allowed. Whatever, I don't exactly know what, but you know. Massey, no. Right now, I'm still using normal electricity. The electricity is going down in... Like, I'll switch off my PC probably in about 15 minutes or so. Right now, I'm still on normal electricity. My electricity is only going off in about 15 to 20 minutes. But I usually, like, switch everything off prior to, like, 20 minutes before it should go off. Just to ensure that I don't get caught with my fucking pants down.
So, what have you reviewed that correlates with the risk factors for IPV that related to Mr. Depp?
So risk factor review that correlate, so starting with I guess we'll start with the physical because that was a question that was put out there. What I have reviewed has demonstrated pushing, shoving, grabbing.
Objection, Your Honor.
Let me see if I can direct this a little differently, Dr. Spiegel. Rather than giving the summary of what that was, what did you review that correlates? In other words, did you review witness statements? Did you review depositions, photos?
Yes. So what I reviewed was in terms of witness statements, Dr. Kipper's notes. Very, very interestingly, actually, early on in I think it was 2012 or around that time, circa 2012, 2014, Ms. Heard was...
Action beyond the scope of the question.
What he reviewed is the question.
All right, let's see.
So I reviewed so Ms. Heard's...
Objection, there's no question pending.
If he's answering, go ahead and answer what you reviewed. Please continue with what you reviewed.
Therapist's notes, counselor's notes.
Fuck. This guy was trying to shoehorn in something that happened in 2012?
Video, pictures, psychologists' notes and evaluations, and I said physicians' notes. That's what I reviewed.
All right. Now, you've indicated that intimate partner violence includes physical violence, sexual abuse, and psychological aggression. Can you please describe for the jury what psychological aggression is and what it entails?
So, it says psychological aggression would be the engaging in behavior for the sole purpose of emotionally and or mentally harming someone with the main purpose of, again, to maintaining control. So behaviors that can occur with psychological aggression include insults, intimidation, holding things financially against someone.
Dude, he's gonna get ripped apart.
Jealousy.
They're gonna rip him apart with literally a simple line of questioning. Have you spoken to either Mr. Depp or Ms. Heard at all during this trial? right, or before providing your testimony, do you have any evidence that Mr. Depp actually shoved Miss Heard or punched Miss Heard or anything like that? Is there anything that you can provide that conclusively proves that Mr. Depp did any of these things? He's obviously going to say no. He can't provide evidence, because if evidence could be provided, this trial wouldn't have continued. So what's going to happen here is they're effectively going to say, well, do you have any evidence that Mr. Depp in any way, shape, or form, with all the drugs that he was taking, that he abused Miss Heard? And he's going to be like, well, no, I can't really prove that, obviously. And they're going to be like, okay, well, thanks. Thanks for wasting our fucking time.
Rants, property destruction. So all that is involved, a nonverbal communication, so threatening looks, glances, things like that. All that is involved in psychological maltreatment and intimate partner violence.
What if anything would be psychological aggression if it was trying to control somebody's career? Would that be a factor?
Yeah,
Action leading.
Overruled.
So yeah, I'm trying to control someone's career. That would be under financial, trying to mistreat someone, especially
Blazing Star Idaho. Can you blame us?
and
This
trying
is
to have
so
a career, and
juicy.
you're preventing them from doing so by maltreatment. That's another example.
So I'm going to ask specifically about the risk factors for intimate partner violence. Is substance abuse a risk factor for intimate partner violence?
Yes, it is a risk factor as well as a precipitating cause.
And what record evidence did you review that correlates to Mr. Depp engaging in substance abuse?
So the record evidence of, I'll just start with Dr. Kipper and the substances that Mr. Depp was using and misusing, both in terms of prescribed and on urine drug screen, were brought out through that.
Okay. Is lack of behavioral control and impulsiveness risk factors for intimate partner violence?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Oh my God,
and
this guy is
what
a
if
train
any
smash, bro.
record evidence were you aware of that Mr. Depp had exhibited lack of behavioral control and impulsiveness?
They all have about
Again,
3 or 4, Celtic Lord?
Threatening.
Objection. Record evidence.
That correlates with, and I'm on the risk factors at this point. Thank you, Your Honor.
Threatening, destroying furniture, property, breaking things, writings on walls, mirrors.
Easy.
Writing
Blazing
blood
Star.
on furniture. All that would go with that.
Okay. All right. And what, if any, risk factor is narcissism for intimate partner violence?
So a patient, before we get into narcissistic personality traits or disorder, the overall, it's categorized under what's called cluster B personality.
Objection, Your Honor, beyond the scope of the question.
He's explaining the narcissism.
Well, I'll sustain objection if you
Okay.
ask the question.
Can you explain to the jury what's involved with narcissism as it relates to the risk factors of intimate partner violence and
So
what that realm is?
So narcissism patients have, again, poor self-control, okay, rapid mood shifts, okay. As a result, they have an undue sense of admiration. They worship power. They worship control.
Sounds like Amber Heard.
They have lack of empathy, and people are generally kept around as long as they're useful to them. A large sense of entitlement.
Heard, yeah.
Anything else? Need for praise. So that would go under narcissistic personality and IPV.
What, if any, what if any traits would be requiring admiration? Would that fit into it?
Yeah, oh yes, requiring admiration need to be in Myers part and parcel of narcissistic personality disorder. Yes.
Would being envious fit within that?
Yes.
Fragile self-esteem?
Yes.
And what, if any, record evidence do you have that correlates with Mr. Depp being narcissistic?
Well, I do think that the fact that
Zafir, how you doing?
he thought that Amber owed him, Ms. Heard owed him.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled. Thank you. Go ahead.
The fact that Ms. Heard owed him and only wanted to be together with him because of his fame is an example of that. I do think the jealousy aspects are an example of that. I do think, as I think Mr. Tillett had testified that, being admired is one thing, but then behind your back saying something else about people is another thing. And I can probably say with a reasonable certainty that to some degree this whole trial is that.
Objection, Your Honor.
The fuck?
What's the objection?
That's not record evidence. Speculation.
Please continue.
That this whole trial, in terms of narcissistic insult, is what's going on. I believe that Mr. Depp was very much a mainstay appropriately in Hollywood, and then this was pulled the rug without.
Objection, Your Honor. Can we be?
He's able to explain what
I'll
he's.
sustain that objection.
Can you explain what you mean by this whole trial?
This
Honor, can we
proceeding will go.
approach?
This court case will go.
There's an objection, sir.
Dude, this guy, like, what the fuck? So, in other words, according to this guy, if someone makes false claims against you, that effectively ruins your fucking life. You aren't allowed to take them to court because that could get you, like, you're a narcissist then, right? Crazy Nerd, Jeff, how you doing, brother? Thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel, bro.
Conduct is in the record evidence that correlates with Mr. Depp being narcissistic, having those traits.
Was the thing about the trial rule? I can't speak.
You're not allowed to say that.
Not say that. Okay. The only other thing about narcissism, I think, in terms of the trial, would be in order to maintain any sense of control, a narcissistic person really has to have lack of empathy, because in order to engage in behaviors that quote unquote are used to keep individuals in control, you don't really think about the other person. You're not really caring what happens to that other person. So I think that's another facet.
So are attitudes accepting or justifying intimate partner violence a risk factor for intimate partner violence?
Yes.
Do some perpetrators in intimate partner violence try to minimize the IPV?
Yes. So it is unfortunately not uncommon, especially during the calm phases of the abuse cycle where there is no increased tension. There's
Adrian,
no
how you doing, bro?
acting out. Okay, you were talking about more of the honeymoon.
Dude, I don't know.
Apologetic
Oh, he's
phase,
looking at the jury.
begging for forgiveness, telling them how you're going to change, maybe giving them gifts. And then when the dust settles later in the day, a day or two later, it is not uncommon for the perpetrator to kind of switch the blame over to the victim, saying that, hey, this either denial, this never actually happened and trying to make me look bad, or an allopathic defense where you instigated it, or an altruistic effect where I'm doing it for you, transformative effect that society kind of accepts this. So it is very uncommon for all of a sudden for that to start shifting during that time, because it is during the calm phase and everything is relatively calm. This, of course, is when the victim wants to engage in treatment. But beyond that, the ability to kind of quote unquote for lack of a better phrase, win people over, family, friends, the law. I mean, the variability to do that is part and parcel of that calm, charming phase where it looks like the victim is.
All right, I have to go because my power's about to go out. If all things go well and my power goes on at the right time, I will be back in about 2.5 hours, guys. So we will go live again. Keep an eye out on Discord. We'll probably play some games when I get back. I don't know how much more of this guy's fucking testimony I can take, if I'm honest with you. So we'll probably play some video games, hang out, chat, do all that crazy fucking shit that we always do. But yeah, I should be back. If not, I'll obviously see all of you tomorrow, because tomorrow we should not have load shedding. So fingers crossed, tomorrow we will have no load shedding, so stream will start normal time, and we'll be able to play some Final Fantasy XIV, some Stanley Parable, all that good shit. I really appreciate each and one of you coming out, coming to hang out, coming to join in. It is, as always, an absolute pleasure. I hope to see you back here later tonight. For those of you that I will see tomorrow, I can't wait to see you again. And for those of you that is now going to another streamer to watch the rest of this trial, enjoy. Let me know when we get back what happened. Because, yeah, I won't be able to watch it, obviously. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other. And I will see all of you later. Peace out, fam.